Orioles Television Network presents Major League Baseball tonight under the Liberty Bell here at Veterans Stadium in South Philadelphia. It's the opener of the three-game set interleague baseball, the final series before the All-Star break, the Orioles and the Philadelphia Phillies. So good to see everybody. Happy you're with us. Michael Regai, joined by Mike Flanagan. Once upon a time, Curt Schilling, now one of the most dominant pitchers in the game, was an Oriole. Ill-fated deal, 1991, sent him to the Houston Astros. Mike, he certainly has become, from the right-handed side, one of the most dominant pitchers in the game.
Well, I think if you look up power picture in the dictionary, Curt Schilling's picture will be there. We'll watch his last time out, that 95, 96 mile-an-hour fastball. Not just thrown that hard, but located extremely well. Up in the zone, he can run it in, he can run it out, and he also has a forkball and a slider. His 8th season with the Phillies, 92 and 70. This year, 128 Ks, third most in the majors. Last year, 300 Ks. The year before that, 319 Ks. So he is a power pitcher, and emphasize both power and pitcher.
Yeah, he is that 46 times in double figures, 10 strikeouts or more in a game. Curt Schilling to get the baseball against the Orioles tonight. Birds lost 2 of 3 to Philly in the last interleague go-round at the Yard. It'll be Juan Guzman on the mound for the Orioles. Guzman was very strong in Yankee Stadium on Sunday and got his 4th win of the year. And Curt Schilling, he won't start the All-Star game, but he's looking for his 13th win of the season here for Terry Francona and the Phillies. They've come up I-95 here to the Vet Oriole fans. That is, we'll get to the starting lineups and throw the first pitch from steamy Philadelphia. That's in a moment on the O's Television Network. The Orioles show up here in Philadelphia, having lost 3 in a row and 13 of their last 15 to fall a season high 16 below the 500 mark. Let's take a look at Ray Miller's Antwerpen starting lineup. A little bit different tonight. Jerry Hairston's going to lead off and play second base. Mike Bordick plays shortstop. He'll hit second. The left fielder, the Oriole All-Star, B.J. Surhoff, the only left-handed bat in the lineup tonight. Albert Bell hits cleanup and plays right field. Jeff Conine again gets his 8th straight start at first base. Cal Ripken, the All-Star for the Birds at third base. He'll hit 6. Charles Johnson will do the catching. Rich Amaral with Brady Anderson still having some hamstring problems at center field. And hitting 9th here in the National League ballpark and doing the pitching will be Juan Guzman. And they're going to face one of the, as we talked about, certainly most dominant starters in the game in Curt Schilling.
Yes, he is. And over his last 4 starts, he is 4-0 with a 2.48 ERA, 12 wins, 128 Ks, 140 innings, and 6 complete games, all second most in the National League. April through May, 8-2 with a 2.57. June, July, 4-2 with a 4.35. 12-4 off to the best start of his career.
Yeah, Curt Schilling looking to become a 13-game winner. Of course, a little conversation here about how Schilling actually was moved up a day. And, Mike, that was to maybe accommodate the Bruce Bochy, the National League All-Star manager. But today, Bruce Bochy announced it'll be the big unit from Arizona, Randy Johnson, that gets the start, although Schilling, according to Bochy, will throw behind Johnson in the All-Star game at Fenway as Curt Schilling goes back to where it all began for him and his professional career. Tonight's Maryland Lottery Baseball scratch-off triple play winner is Paul Fink of Pikesville, Maryland. Paul, you won $50 worth of scratch-off tickets. And now you're automatically entered in the grand prize drawing on August the 6th for $100,000. You can enter the Maryland Lottery Baseball scratch-off triple play game. Send any non-winning baseball ticket to the address on your screen. Tune in to every Orioles game to see if you're a winner. And remember, you have to dare to win. All right, my partner said about a week off, so he's well rested. Go to work, Flanny. What about our keys to the game?
Well, for the Orioles, for Juan Guzman to stay close to the power pitching Schilling and to be patient against their former mate. Of course, Schilling once played with the Orioles, and for the Phillies to lead with Lieberthal. Hit 500, 3 home runs, and 8 RBIs back in Baltimore, and to continue their winning ways, 7 games over 500. Really off to a pretty much a dream season for the Phillies, exceeding expectations.
Oh, you're right, Mike. Terry Francona and this young, aggressive ball club. We saw them at the Yard. They're playing wonderful baseball right now. The Orioles would like to get on track. Magnificent night to play Orioles baseball as Curt Schilling powers that fastball for a called strike. Jerry Hairston in the leadoff spot tonight for the Orioles. First time in his major league career. Wally Bell is behind the mask tonight, calling balls and strikes. Bruce Fleming, Greg Gibson, Mark Hirschbeck from first to third. Mike, you made a real good point, though, a moment ago. Not just a power pitcher, but a pitcher and a late bloomer. And sometimes this happens. And when the Orioles made that move back in 1991, Curt Schilling was nowhere near where he is right now.
Yeah, I think if you knew then what you know now, obviously you never would have made that deal. Schilling was traded to the Houston Astros with Pete Harner, Steve Finley, and January 10th of '91 for Glenn Davis. A deal that has to go down, looking back, with hindsight being what it is, as one of the worst deals the Orioles ever made. But again, he was traded to Houston and was later traded to the Phillies.
Hairston with a fly ball to right. Bobby Abreu got a very late start and then has to lay out to make the catch. Abreu fooled a little bit as Jerry Hairston went the other way, but very impressed with Bobby Abreu. He had a real strong series against the Orioles in early June.
Well, I'm talking with Chuck Cottier, the bench coach and former coach with the Orioles, saying Abreu just is a pleasure to work with. Again, he's just 25 years of age. And he's about the mean age on this club.
Well, getting Mike Bordick to the plate now. Stopped in Ray Miller's office today, and he greets me with, boy, gee, we get to face Curt Schilling. If that's not something that kind of puts you behind the 8 ball enough, and we only have one left-handed bat healthy, as both Brady Anderson and Will Clark not able to go. As Mike Bordick slashes it to right, Abreu again will track it and haul it in. A couple of fly ball outs for Curt Schilling, getting Hairston and Mike Bordick. I want to remind you, tonight's Mars Supermarket's first pitch sweepstakes contestant is Gail Bells from Cockeysville, Maryland. Congratulations, Gail. You correctly predicted tonight's first pitch would be a strike. And for that, you're going to receive a $100 gift certificate to Mars Supermarkets and a Baseball City USA t-shirt. And you'll get your prize by mail, Gail, within 30 days. Nice ovation for the Oriole all-star outfielder B.J. Surhoff, who just having a magnificent year. Mike, everywhere we go, everybody wants to talk to us about Surhoff, and rightfully so.
He's just had a marvelous first half. Look at the numbers. 339, 20 home runs. Again, the Orioles' plans coming into spring training, B.J. was going to hit maybe 6th or 7th. Delano DeShields was penciled in to hit 2nd. Shows when you go about building your team how things can change. Talk about Harold Baines in spring training. What did he have? 25 at bats. And he is once again a major player in the Oriole offense, though he was missing from the lineup.
Surhoff with a fly ball, fairly deep right center, but there's room for Doug Glanville. 3 fly ball outs for Curt Schilling. Orioles go quietly. Phillies coming to hit. We're just getting going for the vet here on O's TV. They're getting excited around the city of brotherly love. Terry Francona's Phillies are playing very good baseball. We take a look at the Phil's Antwerpen starting lineup. They're all swinging hot bats. Doug Glanville leads off in center field. Ronnie Gant in left field. He'll hit second. The right fielder is Bobby Abreu. Scott Rowland, walk-off game-winning home run for the Phils on Wednesday. It's cleanup at third base. Rico Bronya, the first baseman tonight. Mike Lieberthal, all-star, having a big year behind the plate. Marlon Anderson, one of the best with runners in scoring position, hitting the baseball at second base. Alex Arias playing shortstop for the injured Desi Relaford, hitting ninth. And doing the pitching is the right-hander Curt Schilling. And they're going to face a gentleman, Mike, that has started to turn things around a little bit and was very dominant in New York City, Juan Guzman.
Yeah, he certainly has liked the warm weather. 2-2 over his last 6 starts with an outstanding ERA. 3 starts on turf on the season, 0-1 with a 5.7. See, versus the Phillies, a no decision. 5 innings pitched and 9 hits. High pitch count in that game for Juan, but he has pitched much better of late, and certainly he will need to have that kind of stuff that he had in the middle innings, certainly in New York, to be successful tonight.
32 years of age now, Juan Guzman, as he goes to work against the leadoff man, the speedy center fielder Doug Glanville. And Glanville, Mike, as we said, this whole ball club is hot. We saw that at Oriole Park. They're 5-1 on this 9-game homestand with 3 more to go. They just swept Chicago. Then they took 2 out of 3 from Montreal. As Guzman evens the count at 1-1, but Doug Glanville, as we saw at Oriole Park, this guy is the catalyst, and he's going to get on base and score runs.
Yeah, and talking with Chuck Cottier before the game, just rave reviews for Glanville. He said he is just a quality individual.
Base hit center field. Bullet line drive, and that's how the Phillies will start. And now you get Glanville with that threat to start the track meet on the base pass for the Phillies.
Part of the keys to the game will be for Juan Guzman to try to slow down that running game. Fastball up and out over the plate. Not that bad a pitch. You see Glanville just lean in, just try to hit it right back up the middle. Nothing fancy. He's just trying to get on base.
It's 9 straight now. Doug Glanville has hit it, and it puts him at over 430 during that period. with 17 base hits in the 9-game streak. Here's Ronnie Gant. Gant getting a start in left field tonight. We saw Gant as a DH as Terry Francona was able to use a DH at Oriole Park. Gant had a couple of big extra base hits for the Phillies.
He had 4 hits in one of those games.
Phils took 2 out of 3 from the O's over the first weekend in June in Baltimore.
Another one of those hitters, and we see the trend around Major League Baseball going to the open stance.
What'd you think of Batista yesterday? Well,
That
you
is
saw him up in Philly.
Yeah, the ultimate open stance.
But you know what, Mike, I repeated your comment. Jim Palmer worked with us this week, and I think you're right on the money. And talking to Gary Matthews, when you made the comment up in Toronto about Batista, because he has a tendency to step in the bucket, start him there and then close him back down.
Yep, start off with the poor mechanical part of a swing and try to correct it that way.
Now, when you saw a hitter that was severely open, what did that tell you? You always talk about information. What did that give you?
I tell you the truth, when I first not a lot of that went on a few years back. The other one that I first saw really use it was Mike Bordick. His was pretty exaggerated when he first came up with the Oakland Athletics. But I used to try to watch their first move. In other words, sometimes a hitter will hold his hands way up high. Don't be fooled by that. Where does he set up and where does he approach the ball? You watch that left leg of Gant. They're going to call a balk on Guzman.
Well, Guzman continued to go over, and Bruce Fleming down there at first base says, you balked, Juan, and Doug Glanville's at second base.
Well, Juan's a little bit surprised by all this. And what he's calling it on is that little buckle of the left knee that you see. But I really don't know how you can throw to first without bending your knee. I'll have to try that sometime. Maybe I got a little chip on my shoulder from when I was up here last coaching the National League umpires.
Oh, yeah.
It's almost like we're going to show you American Leaguers.
No, that wouldn't go on, would it?
No. It's like, we're going to show you guys. The rules are a little bit different in this league. So I wish he would have let us know.
Bruce Fleming, he's been around a long time in the National League umpiring crews. Well, Glanville is in scoring position here early for Ronnie Gant.
The key is to watch the left leg of Gant. Where does that go? So it closes up almost on a direct line. I think it does is forces hitters to go onto the plate. We talked about Terry Crowley. You cover the ball away. Maybe what has changed in hitting over the years is now that they learn to dive out over the plate to cover. We hear about it all the time. That's what's changed in the game. And by having all these open stances, that's what it does. You're so open, you say, I have to close up.
As you look at Terry Crowley, a man who's been a proponent of using certainly varied hitting styles and stances, and has paid big dividends with the Orioles.
Well, he's such a good hitter. In his day, Terry Crowley, he would use one bat the entire year. It was a mess come September. All beat up and chip marks, but he just always seemed to be able to hit the ball cleanly on the fat part of the bat.
Ronnie Gant, who's been hot with runners in scoring position, awaits a 3-2 from Guzman and fouls it off. Gant has 8 base hits in his last 13 plate appearances, and he's raised his average just about 77 points from 231 up to where it currently stands at 259. He's been a 308 hitter during the course of his hot streak.
Seems to have found a home in the second slot in this Phillies lineup. Used to, I guess, traditionally be hitting in that 4th or 5th spot.
Another 3-2 from Guzman. That'll miss. A couple aboard here before Juan Guzman is able to retire a Philadelphia hitter in the opening inning. What about this Phillies ball club? The damage they put together offensively at Oriole Park. Mike, in winning 2 of 3 at the yard, the Phillies swung the bats very, very well. As you see the numbers, they hit at a 379 clip. They averaged better than 8 runs per game. 16 extra base hits, 5 of them home runs. Mike Lieberthal led that damage, and especially the one on Sunday, they rallied late to win the deciding game of the 3-game series.
Well, that is with the DH, and obviously the Orioles missing the DH tonight. Harold Baines.
Bobby Abreu with a drive to deep left. Surhoff not going to get there. That's over his head and up against the wall. Glanville will score. Gant being waved in. No throw. 2-0 Philadelphia as Bobby Abreu, who is now 5 for 6 in his career off Juan Guzman, is absolutely scorching. He had 7 hits in the series at Oriole Park, Mike, and he comes out picking on Guzman right away. 2-run double.
We talk about nice pieces of hitting. Watch him go with this pitch from Guzman. Fastball out over the plate. And we've seen a number of the Phillies hitters do this already. Not trying to pull the ball, not trying to roll over that sinker, not be out in front of that slider. They have a game plan already in place against Juan Guzman. And again, you know you're pitching against Curt Schilling. Cannot afford to have a major inning early on and let Schilling just take his time and get his feet on the ground and let it fly.
You just saw a peek of Terry Francona, a young manager of this ball club. Here's Scott Rowland, a young man that has drawn comparisons, and Mike, many would say rightfully so, to a young Mike Schmidt here in Philadelphia at this point in his career. I mentioned the other night he hit the walk-off home run. There's the Hall of Famer, Schmitty.
Well, size is certainly a comparison. This is an ample comparison.
Charles Johnson kept it in front of him. Let's elaborate a little bit, Mike, on the offensive damage that the two Phillies, the two big right-handed hitters, Rowland and Lieberthal, have done. Now, since interleague play began, look at the numbers for these two guys against the Orioles in the last 3 years of interleague baseball.
Big time numbers, career numbers. 16 for 35 for Lieberthal, 457. A lot of RBIs for both of them. Again, we were going over the notes before the game. There's not too many hitters in this lineup that are cool. Seems like you may want to pitch around the majority of this lineup and attack Curt Schilling at the plate. Maybe one plan of attack. But Rowland, again, talking about the youth, just 24 years of age, already an established, I guess, a rising star.
Guzman working the outside corner, 3-1 now on Scott Rowland. He missed the first 2 games of the Orioles series at Oriole Park. The death of his grandfather took him away. And Rowland came back and hit a home run on Sunday in the Phil's Game 3 victory. Guzman checking Abreu, the 3-1 pitch. Towering fly ball to left. Plenty of room for B.J. Surhoff. Abreu is going to challenge Surhoff, and Ripken will put the tag on him. Oh, Bobby Abreu, don't you read the stat sheet, young man? He thought maybe he could catch Surhoff napping, but that is outfield assist number 10, as Cal Ripken was just waiting to slap that tag on Bobby Abreu.
Well, trying to be aggressive. You see BJ taking nothing for granted, not letting his track record speak for itself, and he just throws a perfect strike. Looks like he's making a throw to second base when he was a catcher. So that short, quick release, and just right on the money.
The outfield assists just keep on coming. Number 10 on the year. Mike, when I looked up and saw Abreu, I'm thinking he's going to come down 20 feet and draw a throw. Well, the baseball right in front of him, and you make a good point. B.J. Surhoff is not going to be baited by that from Abreu.
The tendency is, if you're going to rest on your laurels and Hardee's, is you wait for the catch to come, then you check and see if the runner's going to go, and then you throw. B.J. doesn't assume that. He assumes every runner's trying to take a base.
Correct assumption there for Surhoff, racking up outfield assist number 10.
I mean, some outfielders get assists because they're poor outfielders, because a lot of teams take chances, and others get, like Surhoff, that are aggressive and accurate, throw out runners that normally would make it. And that's a play, you know, at times you'll see a runner from second base make that advance.
You will probably not see it too many times against B.J. Surhoff. Rico Bronya, fly ball center field. Rich Amaral, he's got it inning over. Bobby Abreu with a 2-run double off Juan Guzman, so the Phillies have the early lead for Curt Schilling when we get back to the vet. Most fans, join the Oriole Advocates 11th annual 5K home run, fun run, and walk. It'll happen on Sunday, July 11th at 8 a.m. at Oriole Park. The race begins in the parking lot of Camden Yards, ends on the warning track at center field. You need to be involved. for the good health of it and more. For more information or to register, call the race director Dave Cooley at that number you see on your screen, area code 410-377-8882. Let's go to inning number 2 as Albert Bell shows up at the plate here at the Vet. Albert went deep in the 9th inning yesterday with the Orioles down by 6, a solo home run. And Albert had a lot of chances early in the game. His first 3 plate appearances, there were 7 runners standing on bases, and Albert wasn't able to deliver. So Bell to face Schilling here to open up the second. Mike, we talk about the strikeouts. Schilling with a season high 13 in his last outing on the 4th of July. So we know when he needs to rear back and get a little bit extra, he's capable of that. But obviously he's fun to watch pitch because he's a craftsman on the mound too, as well as just a power arm.
Well, if you watch his delivery, I think if you think of Armando Benitez delivery to throw 99 miles an hour. Now you watch Schilling's delivery to throw probably 95 to 97 consistently. Looks very easy and relaxed. But yet in his last 22 innings pitched 30 strikeouts. And watch the finish right to the glove.
Towering fly ball off the bat of Albert Bell. Doug Glanville will put it away. Schilling gets Bell. Mike, we've showed all the glittering numbers for Curt Schilling here in Philadelphia of late. Now what about with the Orioles as he began his career in bird colors after coming over with Brady Anderson from Boston?
Again, hindsight, you see 5 starts with the Orioles, 88 through 90, 1-6 with almost a 5. Then he goes to Houston, 3-5 with a 381. Then he gets traded for Jason Grimsley.
Jeff Conine, first pitch swinging. Alex Arias to handle the ground ball. Toss Conine out. It's 5 in a row for Schilling. Without a K yet. Yeah,
the Schillometers.
They rack them up here, don't they?
That gives you the total on the year, 128, not 738. That's the section. You talk about a late bloomer. Schilling's first, I guess, 7 or so years in the big leagues. Record 43 and 42. That's from 88 through 95. I mean, his overall major league record is not that impressive. 84 and 77 coming into the year. He's approaching a career win number 100. So again, at 32 years of age, a late bloomer.
And that late bloomer is facing one of his baseball idols right now. First time Curt Schilling has faced Cal Ripken, who fouls off the fastball. Schilling was talking a lot about Ripken and B.J. Surhoff before the game today, and also Brady Anderson. Gave Brady a lot of credit for showing him the way about how to be a major leaguer when the two of them came over to the Orioles from the Boston Red Sox in the deal that sent Mike Boddicker to Boston.
Which at the time was a good deal for both clubs. The Red Sox trying to get in the postseason, acquired Mike Boddicker and did do that.
Ripken tried to check it and went too far, says Bruce Fleming. First K of the night for Curt Schilling, and that'll end inning number 2. Well, the Schillometer gets warmed up. Oh, I've got to have the chest bump. 2-0 Philadelphia when we get back. With injury report here for the Orioles. Lenny Webster is back with the ball club, and yet waiting to see how things turn out as far as being activated. He's been on the 15-day DL since the 12th of May. Delano DeShields will continue to sit out until after the All-Star break. Mike Fetters, Ricky Bonas, arm problems for the Oriole bullpen guys, and they too are missing in action right now as the Phillies come to the plate with this 2-0 lead here in the second inning. Mike Lieberthal is going to lead it off, and as we showed you a moment ago, Lieberthal, the All-Stars, having a banner year. Really brought out the heavy lumber against the Orioles with those 4 home runs in a pair of interleague years. Guzman fooled him there on the slider. This guy was the Phil's #1 pick back in 1990, and Mike, he had a serious injury, a stress reaction in the pelvis area last year, and didn't play from late July all the way through the end of the season. He appeared in 86 games, so about half the Phillies' season's worth. But is he making up for it this year?
He is one of 3 Philly All-Stars, Curt Schilling, Paul Byrd, and Lieberthal. Gives the Phillies 3 All-Stars from the first time since 1995 when they had 5 that year. Darren Daulton, Lenny Dykstra, Morandini, Slocum, and Green that year.
Ground ball to the right of Mike Bordick. He'll get that true hop here on the turf and throw out Lieberthal. That's how inning number 2 opens, with Lieberthal bouncing out to Bordick. Most fans want to remind you interleague baseball is coming to the yard when we get the second half rolling on Thursday, July the 15th. The first Utah Street pregame block party. It features a live performance by Dr. Harmonica, Rocket 88, and even $2 draft beer from 5 to 7 o'clock. Good seats still remain for the 7:35 game. O's and Expos. Get your tickets now by calling 1-888-848-BIRD. There's Marlon Anderson now, a young man that absolutely tore up minor league pitching last year. Struggling a little bit at 250, but what he has done is put together the second best average in the majors, Mike, with runners in scoring position.
Outstanding. 448 average. Second in the majors behind Larry Walker of the Colorado Rockies, who was at 453, so only probably 1 base hit off of that. He's hitting 10 of his last 15. 391 average with 9 RBIs. Just another one of those young players they plug in and seems to fit.
Guzman's 3-0. It's the called strike on Marlon Anderson.
Well, so far a low strike zone in evidence, so that is a good sign for both Curt Schilling. Maybe not a good sign for the Orioles, but also for Juan Guzman.
Well, Juan really pulled kind of a Houdini act against the Phillies on the 6th of June in that start at Oriole Park in the finale of the series. Mike, he gave up 9 hits in 5 innings of work, but he effectively scattered them because he only gave up 1 run.
He's been sort of on again, off again. This is Juan's 18th start on the year, but he's pitched much better over his last 10 starts. 3 and 2 over that period of time. And over his last 18 and 2/3 innings pitched, 23 strikeouts, usually an indication that when Juan gets ahead, he's able to finish you off.
On the ground and hard, Jerry Hairston will keep it in front of it and throw out Marlon Anderson by a step. A couple of ground ball outs for Guzman here in the second.
So one thing AstroTurf does is allow you to have time to see a nice hop come right up into the glove. Play a little deeper. You have to have a little bit better infield arm to play on AstroTurf because you can play a lot deeper, a lot more area to cover. And obviously speed is an important qualification to be able to play day in and day out on this unforgiving surface.
Jerry Hairston has added that a whole lot of spark to the Orioles situation as Alex Arias stands in. Arias has taken over the shortstop job for the injured Desi Rutherford, and well, he too. So I guess he said, Mike, well, everybody else is. I might as well join the party. Come off the bench. He'd been one of the best pinch hitters in the National League this year. And now he's making his 33rd start at shortstop, and he too swinging away at over a 300 clip.
Well, they're all hot. Just a question of can Juan Guzman just keep making quality pitches. Look at Terry Francona, the youngest manager in the major leagues at 39 years of age.
Doing a very fine job here in Philadelphia. A lot more excitement, Mike, as we hit town about the Phillies again. They're going into the All-Star break on Sunday with a chance to, have their best record going into a break since 1995, and of course their '93 club, the last one that tasted postseason here in the South Side of Philly when they went to the World Series.
It seems like they had a 3 or 4 year plan, and they've accomplished it in a couple of years.
There it is, our director tonight, the newlywed, Bill Bell, with his lovely wife, Elisa, joining us here and coming back to work after their nuptials last Saturday afternoon as Arias bounces it foul. Now, see, this is Bill's hometown. He grew up here in Philadelphia, so he's well aware of all the sport goings on as he watched as a young man. Where'd you sit, Bill? Up in dead center field? No, you didn't. He's trying to tell me he sat behind home plate. I know better. He sat up under the Liberty Bell.
Right by that lean on us sign. Must be in the front row. Still was well connected.
Oh, yeah, very well. Ground ball by Ripken and into the corner and left. Alex Arias, extra bases. Got a stand-up two-base hit. And that baseball, there's kicking off the angle as the stands leak toward the foul line in the left field corner. There it is, but Abreu hit it hard between Ripken and the bag for the Phil's second double of the night and their third base hit.
Well, just out of the reach of Cal. Cal playing off the line, just out of that outstretched area. Then the speed on this AstroTurf positioning is crucial. That's why infielders love to play behind a pitcher with control. If the ball is supposed to be in, it's delivered there. You can cheat a couple of steps.
There's Curt Schilling. He likes to take his hacks. He will put the baseball in play, and not a bad hitter. Schilling's driven in 3 runs.
He has a triple to his credit, unless this is a misprint.
Schilling huffing and puffing, legging out that 3-base hit.
41 at bats on the year. 5 hits. 22 punch outs. I guess that's how we talk about the difference between American League pitchers and National League. You're going to have some sort of, I don't think the word is convoluted, but the numbers will be a little misleading. If you're in a National League and pitching, you are facing a pitcher probably 3 times a game, or that spot. So if you have 35 starts and you strike out the pitcher every time, you're adding really 100 strikeouts probably to your overall numbers. And you're probably taking a run, maybe a 3/4 of a run off your ERA.
Guzman fans Curt Schilling, got him on the slider away, and that'll end inning number 2. Juan Guzman strands the double from Arias. 2-0 Philadelphia. Who's coming to the yard, those fans? The New York Mets, right? Bobby Valentine's guys, featuring Mike Piazza, and of course strong young pitching staff that the Mets have. They'll invade the yard later this month for a 3-game series. While the Sunday night game is sold out, tickets still remain for the games on Monday, July 19th and Tuesday the 20th. Get your O's Mets tickets now by calling 1-888-848-BIRD. Let's head to the 3rd inning. Hope you're enjoying it, trying to stay cool. The heat came back here to the Northeast again. Is kind of steamy, about 90 degrees, and humid tonight in South Philadelphia at the Vet. Charles Johnson up to the number 7 spot in the lineup tonight for Ray Miller, to be followed by Rich Amaral, and then the pitcher Juan Guzman. Curt Schilling has retired the first 6 that he's faced. Mike, how much of a decided edge do you think it is for National League ball clubs when the American League teams have to come in here, lose the DH, and have the pitcher swing?
Well, just in Harold Baines' case, not in the lineup because of the DH in that series back in Baltimore. Harold went 5 for 11 with 3 RBIs. So again, what you're swapping is really a pitcher's spot for possibly one of the best hitters on the Orioles team. You really are removing a 3, 4, or 5 hitter from the American League lineup. Of course, the National League lineup, when they go to the American League towns, really don't have a DH. It's sort of their 10th man. They just sort of plug in. But it is definitely a roster spot and a, I guess, picked position or chosen role for an American League club.
Schilling's 2-1 to Charles Johnson. This is bounce foul. You know, Terry Francona too, and talking about that, Mike, when I remember when we were at Oriole Park when the Phillies came in, he said, well, I use it to get, I've got a good pinch hitting group on my bench, extra guys, so I decided, you know, I figure I can get each one of them 4 swings per day, per game when we go to the American League City. Johnson on the ground and handled by Scott Rowland. 7 in a row now for Curt Schilling, and only 1 strikeout.
Well, I think for the National League managers, that's how they do it as a whole. They use that position and rotate players in. Somebody needs a rest. Well, I'll give the catcher a day off and DH him. I think we saw Lieberthal do that in Baltimore. But it's a, you know, in the American League, it is more of an assigned role.
I'll bring up Rich Amaral, the center fielder. Should have called strike from Curt Schilling. Rich is in center field, making his 9th start of the year. Again, if you're just joining us, Brady Anderson left the game yesterday afternoon with some tightness in a sore hamstring, and so on turf As Emerald grounds it over the bag and fair. Nice play. Bronya to Schilling, covering the bag to just nip Emerald. Rico Bronya had to come a long way to his left toward the line to pick off that ground ball that got over the bag and fair off the bat of Emerald.
And so far, really, all Schilling is doing is just trying to establish his fastball. Nice play by left-handed first baseman. A much easier play for a left-hander. Right-handed first baseman had to turn and spin around, but very accurate throw right to Schilling. Straight line to the bag.
There's Juan Guzman now. Mike, are there nights when a power pitcher might say, though, you know what, I'm going to conserve a little bit. I'm going to economize. I got to throw way more pitches if I strike out 10 plus in a game?
Well, certainly you want to sort of wean your way to the 5th inning and see where you're at, and then go ahead and turn it on if you like. But it seems, again, it's the first time he's pitched against the Orioles. Really just nice, relaxed delivery and just trying to locate his fastball. Pitch after pitch. The Orioles are late. It's almost as if they're looking for strikeout stuff, and they're just getting a nice, smooth four-seamer on the outside part of the plate. He's really just exclusively lived out there. Only a couple of breaking balls. I think he threw Albert Bell a slider. See how smooth that finish is. It's almost like, here, hit it. I'm establishing my fastball. I'm not going to throw anything else until you make me.
Schilling trying to finish off Juan Guzman. Juan had a base hit in his complete game win against Atlanta. Struck him out as he went to the split finger to get Guzman. Now that's going to do it. 9 up and 9 retired for Curt Schilling. 2-0 Philly. Gotta love them. All rights to our baseball telecast tonight are reserved. Any rebroadcast, recording, retransmission, or other use of all of our pictures without the express written permission of the Baltimore Orioles and CBS Cable is prohibited. He's been creating fun here at the Vet in South Philadelphia for a long, long time. The Philly fanatic. Going into his very talented act. Juan Guzman shaking the head a little bit as Guzman heads out for his 3rd inning of work. Phillies touched him for a couple of runs in the opening inning to take this 2-0 lead. Only the top of the lineup, Doug Glanville. Glanville had a base hit to center field and scored one of the 2 Philly runs. Glanville, the catalyst, with now 49 runs scored, although that is 3rd on the ball club, actually, as Bobby Abreu leads the club with 59 runs scored. Of course, Abreu, one of the 4 in double figures on the home run side. Guzman's 0-1 pitch. That's on the inside corner to get ahead 0-2. See Guzman with pitch number 44 heading plateward here in inning number 3.
I think with Glanville and talking with Chuck Cottier, I think it doesn't make him really totally the perfect leadoff hitter as the base on balls. Last year he only walked 42 times in 678 at bats, so he is a swinger. But they figured that can be an acquirable skill. The year before, in 474 at bats, walked 24 times. He's one of those hitters that starts to bat anticipating a strike, just tries to guide it out into center field.
You're right, Mike. On base percentage about 380, a little bit lower than they'd like. You get a piece of it? Nope, he didn't. And Charles Johnson will put the tag on Doug Glanville, who is a strikeout victim of Juan Guzman. That's Juan's 2nd. You got Schilling and now Glanville here in the 3rd. Here's Ronnie Gant. Mentioning how Gant has picked things up. Of course, maybe the power is diminished a little bit for Ron Gant. Back in the early 90s, had some big years with the Atlanta Braves, and then on through St. Louis, his last stop before coming here to Philly.
I think that's where the Phillies made the adjustment. They've moved Gant out of really the power slot to the more opportune role of hitting second in the lineup. Guzman ahead 0-2. 3 years of over 30 home runs for Ronnie Gant.
couple of them with the Atlanta Braves, and an even 30 on the nose in one of his 3 years in St. Louis in 1996. Guzman wanted it. You see him with that long look in at home plate umpire Wally Bell.
Made a pretty good pitch down and out over the plate. See hesitation on both the part of Guzman and Gans. What is that the borderline pitch going to be called?
Two and two now on Gant. Ball deep left center field, but there's room for B.J. Surhoff. Watch out, he and Rich Amaral come together. So Amaral and Surhoff are going to discuss it a little bit.
I thought I called for it. I thought you called for it. Yo, I got it, you take it. Or as the players call it, symbols. Two gloves colliding. You see Amaral calling for it. A lot of times you have to check the glove and see who has it. Two gloves colliding. Luckily it goes into Surhoff's glove.
Well, no damage done as Amaral and Surhoff lightly come together as Bobby Abreu looks at a called strike. Very talented young hitter. Now 5 for 6 in his career off Juan Guzman after he ripped the 2-run double the opposite way off Guzman in the opening inning.
Chuck Gaudier going on at length about Bobby Abreu, who's just torn up the Orioles, but he's done it to other clubs also. Fine young talent.
Well, maybe he had his bust-out year in 1998 when he hit .312 with 17 home runs and drove in 74.
Born in Aragua, Venezuela, just outside of Barquisimeto, if I remember correctly, in Valencia.
Hey,
in my 1 year playing winter ball.
I like that. Guzman misses to fall behind 3-1. Well, he shows you Mike Lieberthal in conjunction with Scott Rowland. We better add Bobby Abreu to that puzzle because Abreu has really swung the bat well. 8 for 13 against the Orioles now. That includes his double here tonight as he tried to check it and went a little bit too far. 7 base hits in the series at Oriole Park in the 3 games and scored 5 runs. So that .615 average incorporates his 2 base hit tonight into the corner and left.
Now 5 for 6 off Juan Guzman.
That'll miss. So on the 3-2 pitch, Guzman issues the 2-out walk at Bobby Abreu.
Sometimes discretion is the better part of valor. But then this man has to walk into batter's box. And again, there's no cool hitter in sight.
Mike, you faced Mike Schmidt, one of the most imposing right-handed hitters that you ever matched up against.
Yes, and again, because we never got to see too much of them except in the '83 World Series, which I think he was 1 for 21 in that series, and in spring training when we would head over to Clearwater in those days. But an impressive, powerful third baseman. Of course, I was always partial to Brooksy as my all-time favorite third baseman, but certainly Schmidt's numbers right up there with the best all-time third baseman.
I don't think you could go wrong if you went with Brooks Robinson, Mike Schmidt, or if you prefer the other way around is for 1-2 as third baseman all-time in the game. Might not get too many arguments.
I don't think so.
Nope.
George Brett.
Yeah. You raise a good point.
Leo Hernandez.
Yeah, sure. Todd Cruz.
Right, Nummy. Good old Todd. Helped us in '83, though.
We had one of our Aflac trivia questions about Todd Cruz, Mike, the other night. First game after he joined the Orioles was in Tiger Stadium. He grew up 2 blocks from Tiger Stadium and had 4 hits to help you win that particular night. Challenging Scott Rowland is Juan Guzman on the 2-0. We saw Guzman when he gets nasty. It can be real nasty. Last Sunday on the 4th of July in Yankee Stadium.
It's been sort of switch on, switch off. As they say, right is rain, and certainly people in the Northeast could use a little rain. But Juan seemed to throw that switch in New York and was just about unhittable.
Guzman trying to take care of Scott Rowland with Abreu aboard and 2 down. Just foul and out of play. Let's show you by the number what happened with Juan Guzman last Sunday in Yankee Stadium. First 3 innings, Chili Davis capped off the 3-0 Yankee lead with a long 3rd deck home run.
Switch off.
Yeah, Guzman was shaking his head, but then, my, did he buckle it down and got real nasty.
Switch on.
8 strikeouts, only 1 Yankee put the ball in play during those 3 innings. Ricky Leday hit a ground ball at Jerry Hairston. Guzman fan 8 of 9. Abreu is going. Charles Johnson's throw not in time. Head first slide beat it for Bobby Abreu. Abreu, who shows that to his repertoire, also the ability to steal a base.
Well, nice jump on Juan Guzman, who has a very slow delivery. Many times the steal is on the pitcher and not the catcher. They're just trying to get into scoring positions, worth a chance.
Abreu now 11 for 17 on the stolen base side in 1999. Guzman has gone the full route here. 3-2 on Scott Rowland. See the lead of Bobby Abreu. The payoff pitch to Rowland. Miss down and away. A couple aboard again against Juan Guzman. To bring Rico Bronya to the plate.
They pitched real carefully to Abreu and Rowland with 2 outs, nobody on. So the Phillies lineup, certainly the kind of lineup that there's not too many holes. Sooner or later, you're going to have to give in. Really look for Juan to go to that straight changeup here with Bronya.
It's one pitch he has not broken out much tonight, Mike. And everything has been hard from Guzman. On the outside corner, and as we speak, there it is. And for all those years, everybody thought that was a split finger from Guzman.
I'll never forget when Juan came over to the club. We had a side session with Juan out in the bullpen, and I came in, and Eddie said, "How's that forkball? Isn't it nasty?" I said, "He doesn't throw one." He goes, "Come on," because it really has that forkball action, that tumbling, diving action, and it's just a circle changeup, as they call it. Make a circle with your thumb and index fingers and lay that really right over the top of the ball.
Did you throw the circle change, Mike?
I had a difficult time. I had about 42 different changeups. It was really changed with each start. I was much more effective at changing speeds, not by the grip, but by really the wrist pop. It's called, I refer to today as sort of the batting practice fastball. Add a little, subtract a little bit with the wrist. I really could never perfect the grip that I was comfortable with for a long period of time.
Is it difficult to teach or to try to impart to a veteran pitcher, maybe to add to his repertoire?
No, I think there's again, I had so many different grips. It was easy to teach one of the 42 I had and which one felt the most comfortable. But Juan has that sort of traditional circle changeup grip that most of the good changeup pitchers have. Jamie Moyer, Mike Boddicker had that sort of a grip. Scott McGregor was just sort of a straight palm ball, and I had a variation off of that in '79, which I believe, helped him win the Cy Young. The league hadn't seen it before and had sort of a forkball tumbling action. But the thing about it was, it's like the forkball. That year, I'd get ahead and could bounce that pitch, and the hitters just weren't used to looking for it. But I wanted to change it so I could throw for a strike behind in the count, where the hitters were looking fastball, and to get some cheap outs.
Speaking of cheap outs, Juan Guzman would like to get one out to end this third inning. He strikes out Glanville to open the inning. He got Ronnie Gann on the fly ball to B.J. Surhoff, and he's followed that up with 3 straight walks to Abreu, Roland, and Bronya to load the bases.
Well, we talked about switch on, switch off. He really I guess struck out Schilling to end the last inning, struck out Glanville to start off inning, and a simple fly ball by Gant. It looked like he was on a roll, and then it goes to switch off, and you see the pitch count. Just 2 2/3 into this game, approaching 70. Very hot and muggy night. I'm sure that's what Bruce Keeson sees. Don't lose, your aggression. This kind of club, you can't afford to have a big inning. Let's stay ahead. And plus, Schilling's only 4 hitters away, so you can't pitch around everybody.
That would cost you a couple of points on the board.
Again, sometimes
get down to Schilling.
And we talk about it a lot, trying to prevent one. You open the door for 3 or 4 by trying to be too fine.
How much is it in the back of your mind, too, Mike, when in a situation like this, for instance, when you were facing Ron Guidry, or when you were facing Nolan Ryan, or et al. I mean, I can't give up too many.
You can't, and it does affect you. And you try to say you go out there, well, I'm totally on defense in the American League. I'm a DH. I don't have to hit. But you definitely know who you're pitching against.
Lieberthal will foul it off, so Guzman gets a hit.
I mean, believe me, hitters wake up in the morning and they check the paper and see who's pitching. They've known for a couple of days they're going to face Schilling. Just as I think actually the Orioles have been pretty lucky to dodge him this long. We're remarking that this is the first time they faced Schilling, and they've been playing the Phillies now for a couple of years in interleague play.
Guzman out of the windup to Lieberthal. Driven to center. Amaral, though, will have room to track it and pull it in. Inning over. Lieberthal hit it hard, but Rich Amaral making the play. Phillies strand 3, 2-0. Trivia question here tonight. Scott Rowland, 31 home runs last year. Who was the last Philly player to go deep 30 or more times prior to the 1998 season? Last Phil to hit 30 or more home runs prior to Scott Rowland doing it last year. You think about that, and then we'll revisit a little bit later on. We head to the 4th. Michael Ray, Mike Flanagan. You're enjoying this one tonight. Hope you're staying cool wherever you are in the Orioles television network. Curt Schilling has retired 9 in a row as he faces leadoff man Jerry Hairston. Now, Mike, we have really been impressed with the spark, the defensive capabilities, the ability to swing the bat too that Jerry, and steal a base that Jerry Hairston has brought to this ball club.
And catch the ball. I mean, we saw him last September, and at the time he didn't appear to be quite ready. 15 games this season, 304, 5 doubles, 5 stolen bases, and 0 errors. 4 for 5 yesterday versus the Blue Jays. So it appears he's seizing the opportunity. He admitted he was a little bit down when maybe seeing Jesse Garcia. I want to say Jerry Garcia.
You music maniac, you.
No. But seeing Garcia maybe get a chance before Hairston, and took it to heart. And we had to talk with his dad. We talked about that. Said, time to refocus on the game. I also had a conversation with Sid Thrift. He was mentioning that he saw Hairston a month or so ago and said, you never know when that call is going to come. You never know when somebody's going to get hurt at the major league level.
Bounced over the mound. Tough play. Rolling a bare hand, and in one motion, clip Hairston. Very sweet play from Scott Rowland. Mike, he knew he didn't have time to be able to transfer and go to the bare hand. Of course, on AstroTurf, you are going to get that nice Sunday hop.
And what he does so nicely, watch him cock his arm on this high hopper. He doesn't have to reach out in front of him with the bare hand and bring it back. He'll bring his throwing arm back. Watch right there. He'll load it up and then just go forward. Outstanding play. Again, watch, he'll load it up and throw it forward. So the hand really didn't have to go back at all. But again, Schilling seems to be just playing as Steve Carlton, the other Philly, playing an elevated game of catch. with Lieberthal behind the plate. Nice smooth delivery and finish.
Mike, it's so fluid. You know, it kind of, we watched Mariano Rivera, who is so very, motion is so easy, and then the last just a flip with the wrist, and Schilling's much the same way. Very fluid.
When you look at a pitcher on the mound, what you want to look at is comfort level. And he's just playing catch, not overthrowing, under controlled delivery, reading the bat, seeing what the hitters are doing. They're late on his fastball, so he keeps throwing his fastball.
He's ahead of Mike Bordick with a 1-2 pitch. Stayed up and in. Bordick flied out his first time.
I'm willing to bet he's thrown maybe 3 off-speed pitches in this game. He got ahead of Juan Guzman and just said, well, I'll bounce a forkball, and he's out. But again, very relaxed. 1997, Schilling surpassed Steve Carlton's record of 310 strikeouts. Struck out 311. But again, watch this finish. Again, no anxiety at all in this delivery. Just nice straight line to the plate. Arm comes through, finishes the pitch. I mean, he really is something you would tell even Oriole pitchers to sit and watch. Now, this is a pitcher that is confident, under control. I see a lot of pitchers have to manufacture, push off harder off the rubber. Something Scott Derrickson has been guilty of. Trying to manufacture too much velocity.
Base hit center field. First base hit, first base runner after Curt Schilling had retired 10 in a row. Now Mike Bordick with a solid single under the glove of Schilling. The O's have their first base hit of the night with 2 out here in the 4th.
And right down the middle fastball.
The 3-2 pitch as Bordick connects for the Orioles. And then we get B.J. Surhoff a turn here in inning number 4. B.J. had a base hit, another RBI yesterday. Now 70 runs driven in. Oh, Surhoff with a real hot weekend, Mike, meaning 2 or 3 home runs. Could tie his career high with 2 home runs or surpass it with 3 in the first half of the year.
Again, really from day 1 of spring training, BJ has appeared to have been on a mission. Again, he was really the second choice to move into that number 3 spot after Will Clark went down. Brady Anderson was tried first. But BJ is the one that has settled in that area.
Schilling has gotten ahead of Surhoff quickly at 0-2. Well, Mike, how much do you think? Now, Albert Bell hasn't had the kind of productive year and put up the numbers that all of us would have expected in the first half. But can we give Bell some of the credit for Surhoff ahead of him and Baines behind him in terms of what those two have done? Just the specter of Bell in the on-deck circle.
Well, I think, make no mistake about it, the Orioles have a very potent offense. I believe, I haven't looked it up today, but they had more runs scored than the Yankees or the Red Sox.
Yeah.
So, I mean, when you look at this Oriole team, what you see right now is offense. And again, there's no easy way to whittle your way through. This may be really the most unmatched up lineup that we've seen Ray Miller play against a power right-handed pitcher. 3 left-handers on the bench. Usually in the American League, Ray can find a way to get Clark, Baines, and Anderson in the lineup. Of course, a couple of those are due to injury.
Line shot, base hit to the gap in right center field by Abreu and all the way to the wall. Let's watch Bordick now. Abreu will hit the cutoff man, Arias. And Sam Perlazo has to put a stop sign up for Mike Bordick on the searing double to the gap off the bat of B.J. Surhoff, who continues his assault on Major League pitching.
Well, this is when you look really for Albert Bell to deliver to get you back in this one. He's supposed to be your main man in the middle. And that may have been a fork ball, but B.J. is keeping the hands back and right through the ball. So now just a base hit away from tying it up. And again, the Orioles getting this rally going with just 1 out. Now what you see, we've seen a very relaxed, under control Schilling. Will he turn it up now that he's in trouble? That's what you tell young pitchers. You really can't pitch maxed out from start to end of a game. You talked about being able to cruise. Because if you're maxed out, you get in trouble. You can't turn it up any higher.
Now Albert Bell, ground ball to shortstop Arias. He thought about coming to the plate, but will gun out Bell. Well, Mike Bordick will score to get the Orioles on the board on the fielder's choice RBI bounce out off the bat of Albert Bell. Philadelphia's lead sliced in half with Surhoff moving to second with 2 outs now here in the 4th.
Well, the Orioles will take it, getting on the board. I mean, this inning they had not had a hit. A little slider from Schilling. Albert rolls over the top of it, hits a nice ground ball to short.
RBI number 51 in the year for Albert Bell. Jeff Conine, first pitch swinging on the ground, and Marlon Anderson will throw out Conine. And Curt Schilling gets out of inning number 4. Gets up 1-2-1 Phillies. All right, those fans, Cap Night is coming up at Oriole Park against the Detroit Tigers when they make their first and only appearance at the Yard the first week of August. Orioles Cap Night on the 5th. All kids age 14 and under attending the 7:35 O's Tigers game will receive a free Orioles cap courtesy of DAP. You get your tickets right now by calling 1-888-848-BIRD. Let's head to the bottom of the 4th. Orioles have cut the Philly lead in half. 2-1 now as Marlon Anderson leads it off. This is the bottom of Terry Francona's lineup. Towering fly ball to right field off the bat of Anderson. Plenty of room for Albert Bell. Put the squeeze on it. Anderson down early here in inning number 4.
Well, certainly Juan Guzman going through the lower third of this Phillies order. Would like to have an easy one right here. Get back in the dugout and let his offense get back at Curt Schilling.
With Alex Arias, 2-base hit, he ripped it hard inside Cal Ripken in the bag in inning number 2. Okay, this is the second straight series we have seen a ball club lose a shortstop. Blue Jays lost Alex Gonzalez. Tony Batista doing an excellent job. Phils lose Desi Relaford, and Arias has stepped right in and filled the bill.
There's been some injuries among the big shortstops around the league. Gary DiSarcina with the Angels early on in spring training. Sort of a freakish injury. Garcia Parra has been battling a groin pull.
Well, speaking of Garcia Parra, you're a big internet guy. Were you one of the guys that put those 40,000 votes on the internet for Garcia Parra to overtake Jeter?
I don't have that much free time.
The American League office said no.
No.
Those votes will not count.
Nice try, though.
It was a good try.
Modern technology.
It's nice to see the Orioles well represented in Fenway coming up next Tuesday with not only Cal Ripken starting but Mike Messina with his 10 wins. He'll go for 11 tomorrow night. And of course B.J. Surhoff, who's been so dazzling this year. Got him. Juan Guzman went to that nasty slider that we talk about to set down area swinging.
Well, get ahead, throw the slider. Pretty simple formula for Guzman or the changeup. But the key, as always, to Guzman is getting ahead and getting the hitters to expand. So most times it's the strike zone and not the opposition hitters that really are the enemy of Guzman.
Third strikeout of the night for Juan as he's on the outside corner with his fastball to get ahead of his opposite number, Curt Schilling. Schilling fanned his first go round.
There's almost an unwritten rule among pitchers when they face each other to throw fastballs, or you will treat the opposition pitcher the way he treats you. Certainly,
oh yeah,
Schilling dropped that 0-2 forkball on Guzman, so you can look for Guzman to use his A stuff also. But usually if the pitcher will give you a fastball to hit, you'll give him one to hit.
Like that.
And now you can look for the forkball slider. I remember in the '83 World Series here at the Veterans Stadium, Steve Carlton threw me a 3-2 hook. I was paralyzed. I'm going, I haven't had a bat in my hand in 11 years, and he threw me a 3-2 hook.
Come on, weren't you sitting on it?
Jeez. Sitting on it. Almost wrenched my neck. Are you kidding?
Lefty and lefty. Carlton and Flanagan dueling that night.
We got our buddy in there too, Jim Palmer, in that game here at the Vet.
The brilliant career was winding down in one of the last hurrahs in postseason play.
I think we still are a trivia question or a trivia answer. Name the 3 former Cy Young Award winners to appear in a World Series game. So had allowed a couple of home runs early in the game against the Phillies. And that was game 3 against the Phillies, and Joe Morgan and Gary Matthews hit a home run off me early, and I sort of struggled, a lot of pitch count, and Earl decided to make the move to Jim, and he pitched extremely well and got the win. And I think with that win, I believe he is one of the only pitchers to ever win a World Series game in 3 different decades.
Yep. That's right. 60s, 70s, 80s.
I take some credit for the one he got in the 80s.
Setting him up.
Trying to make our buddy look good again.
Like a good teammate should. Curt Schilling battled Juan Guzman, and Guzman missing up and in. Schilling gets the 2-out walk. That's not exactly what the Orioles had in mind to put Schilling on. Now you have to face Glanville here in inning number 4 with Schilling aboard.
Well, and you could also see the sign from San Palazzo. What he was saying is, I want you to Jeff Conine at first base. I want you close behind the runner. They will really not hold Schilling on.
But Glanville has had a base hit in the opening inning, scored a run, and then Guzman fanned him in the 3rd. Glanville trying to bunt his way aboard. Well, with the exception, Mike, of we talked about the on-base percentage, only around 38%, 380. Everything else in the package that Doug Glanville exhibits you like as a leadoff man.
Well, they say he is also a terrific center fielder.
Ground ball off the glove of Guzman. Bordick will track it and have no play. And Guzman got the glove up, deflected it, slowed it down a little bit. Bordick was able to range to his left, but then did not have a play to try to get the speedy Glanville infield base hit.
Almost a carbon copy of last inning. Juan retired the first 2 easily, and then walked the pitcher Schilling off the thumb of the glove. Really no play with the speed of Glanville. He won a couple of chances to have a couple of easy innings. And you just see the pitch count mount.
Here's Ron Gant now. Gant scored a run tonight after he walked. So flied out. Sky to right. Should get Guzman out of inning number 4. Albert Bell put the clamp on it, inning over. Phillies strand a couple. Let's go to the 5th here at the Vet. 2-1 Phils all along the Orioles television network. Scenic of the city of brotherly love. City Hall around Independence Mall here in the city of Philadelphia. And on I-95 on the corridor, as Curt Schilling has a 2-1 lead as he heads to inning number 5. It'll be Cal Ripken to lead it off for the Orioles. And well, Mike, while we have a minute, Ted Patterson, longtime Baltimore sportscaster, of course, play-by-play guy, radio and TV, has penned a book entitled Day by Day in Baltimore Orioles History. It's a terrific read. It documents each and every day that the Orioles play baseball for the 6 months of the baseball season, from 1st of April right through October, and what's happened in Orioles history through those years as Ripken bounces it over the mound. Marlon Anderson now got to make a snap throw to get Ripken by a half step. Cal first pitch swinging. Cal a big part of this July 9th in Orioles history, with an all-star MVP back at Skydome in Toronto on this day 8 years ago. But you and I have got a lot of enjoyment out of Ted Patterson's book that he has written.
Put in a lot of time on the book, and certainly it's enjoyable reading, and we will probably refer to it quite often.
Sure.
Cal thought he had this leg yet. He had a couple of words for the first base umpire. He sort of started with the safe sign and went to the thumb call.
Well, that's what you get as an infielder when you back up and look to play a big AstroTurf hop, as Marlon Anderson, not a long throw, but trusting his arm there to just edge Ripken. Charles Johnson grounded out his first time. This is popped up. Looks like it may be in play for Bronya by the tarp. Yep, he's got room to haul it in. That's two quick ones for Curt Schilling. Mike, you were on the ball club, though, in 1976. You remember Ron Luciano on this July 9th getting into the little, well, continued his running battle with your skipper Earl Weaver, and Luciano made a statement in Chicago. I don't care who wins as long as Earl Weaver doesn't, and it got him in a lot of trouble with the American League office.
Yeah, it did. As a matter of fact, he didn't umpire any more of the Oriole games after that. But I can't remember the number now, how many times Luciano threw out Weaver.
Funny thing is, that night you guys were in Anaheim, and Weaver got ejected that day and the next day, July 10th, by Bill Haller, as Rich Amaral will rip a line drive base hit to the gap in right center field. Abreu got on it and will hold Amaral to a long single. Just for the Orioles, his second base hit of the night. I'm going to get the third base hit as Amaral comes up with a two-out single.
But Schilling so far being very compromising as a pitcher, staying away from the danger areas. Anytime it seems that the Orioles want to get a base hit to the opposite field, Schilling saying, go ahead and take it. I'm going to throw mostly fastballs away. You can stay close, stay back, cover the outside part of the plate, and get a line drive to right. I'll give it to you. The base hit's really a base hit by Bordick. You know, BJ's was the only breaking ball base hit, the double in the alley.
Here's the big difference about National League Baseball. Pitcher hitting. Guzman on the ground to Arias. He'll wait on the big hop and throw the Orioles pitcher out. Now the Birds go quietly. We're halfway home at the vet. 2-1 Phil. All right, let's finish off our Aflac trivia question. Scott Rowland hit 31 home runs last year for the Phils. Who was the last Phillies player to hit 30 or more prior to Rowland doing it in 1998? Would that be Michael Jack Schmidt, maybe, or did somebody do it in
You'd like to think somebody did it in between. Whose stumper is this? Bill's or Chip's stumper?
Well, let's think back to Benito Santiago. I wouldn't have gotten that. Wouldn't have gotten that. That's a good one. That Chip Winfield putting that together tonight, our esteemed graphics coordinator.
Nothing better than to stump us.
Maybe before that, then you go back to the '93 team that was in postseason play. The group they had, of course, Nails Dykstra and Darren Dalton, John Kruk. That group. 2-1 Phils as we head to the bottom of the fifth here on the south side of Philadelphia at the vet. Bobby Abreu, Scott Rowland, and Rico Bronya. This is 3, 4, and 5 for manager Terry Francona.
The danger part of certainly the Phillies lineup. One that's pitched very carefully through this trio.
Abreu checked it as it stayed high. So Guzman has fallen behind 3-0. Juan has been susceptible to the walk tonight. He has walked 5, 3 of them in a row. Abreu, Rowland, and Bronya. Their last go-round against Guzman in the third inning. 3-1 on the Phillies right fielder. They got Bobby Abreu from Tampa Bay for Kevin Stocker. Now Stocker's done a very nice job for the Devil Rays. However, Mike, you would have to. How can an expansion club give up on a talent like Bobby Abreu after you just got him? I know you need a shortstop, okay, and you had a chance to get Stocker, but wow.
You're right. I mean, again, hindsight being what it is. Abreu just turning 25 years of age and appears to be destined for certain stardom.
A payoff pitch, and Abreu fouls it off. The 6th time that Guzman has gone to a full count on a Phillies hitter tonight.
As Abreu had that big series back in Baltimore, a 3-game series. He went 7 for 12. He's hit in 11 of his last 13 games, which is a 347 clip.
Again, a 3-2.
Again, we talked about maybe Curt Schilling's comfort level on the mound. You watch Abreu in the box, he is a very comfortable hitter. Very relaxed stance, not a lot of motion, not much of a hitch. Sort of see the ball, hit the ball. And I didn't like it when hitters walked in the box and were this relaxed. I wanted my stuff to make him a little nervous.
Twisting up the line and left and out of play. Which brings us to yesterday afternoon. You were enjoying the game from the air-conditioned booth next door. Why our colleague Jim Palmer and I were sweating hard at work, but
I had the window open too. Now wait, let's be fair.
Well, our Hall of Fame colleague, I think he had enough of the balls leaving the yard on the Oriole pitchers, and so he started talking about if you pitch in early in the game, things like this maybe don't transpire, rather than starting to do it late after all the damage has been done, which Rocky Coppinger did a little bit.
Well, you know, there's some old sayings in baseball. I guess I never understood that if someone hits a home run, why you throw it or would throw it the next batter. I really don't know what he did. Pay hitters a lot of money to hit balls down the middle of the plate over the fence. I always felt that I made that mistake. And there's times you can tell when hitters are going out and covering the outside part of the plate. That's called reading the bat, and that tells you when to pitch in. It's not so much pitching in. I'm pitching in for outs, certainly not to knock people down or knock them off the plate, but to keep them honest.
And I think that's what was Jim's point, that you know, that's why the ball's leaving the yard and with all this regularity this year, because not only because it's tighter wound and guys are bigger and stronger and you know, pitchers have no advantage, but guys aren't pitching in as much anymore.
Well, I just don't think they pitch with as much location. I mean, almost Schilling tonight is sort of the old school guy. He's just trying to make a quality pitch more than trying to maintain velocity. To me, whether it's 95, 85, if you're making quality pitches and changing speeds, you can pitch at the major league level. It is the major difference that I see in the game today. Everybody, and we see radar guns all around the league, but that does not measure heart. It does not measure location. It does not measure movement. And those things are essential to be a quality pitcher. Otherwise, the major leagues would just be loaded with guys that throw 99 and they would be successful. But you see a Jamie Moyer throw 86, 87 miles an hour, and he's baffling hitters, and they're behind his fastball. So it's about pitching, and we do call pitching the disruption of timing. It's not throwing. It's not who can throw the hardest is the most successful.
Point well taken. Guzman ahead of Roland at 0-2 with Abreu aboard. Got away from Johnson, and Abreu is going to move up.
The whole game, if you want to make the game simple, is the count. When the hitters are ahead, they're able to look for a fastball, eliminate other pitches, and pick a zone. And the number we like, 57% fastballs, or 57% strikes. Easy for me. Low and out of the zone, you see Charles not sure which way that ball is going to break. But what I see is pitch counts. Traditionally, almost night after night, you're seeing right around 100 for 5 innings, 20 an inning. You're not going to complete games. You're not going to finish games with that kind of a pitch count. And what it is you're pitching the ball not to be hit. I think Sandy Koufax said it. He said that you don't become a quality major leaguer until you throw the ball with the intention that you want this pitch to be hit. Or as Keeson takes another step, says, miss hit. I'm going to throw you a low and away fastball. I want you to miss hit it. But if you start pitching away from the bat and throwing 2-0 breaking balls and 2-0 changeups, you can be successful, but you're going to wear yourself out before the 6th inning.
Guzman's 1-2 to Roland, misses down and in. All right, while we're on this subject, then young pitchers that get drafted and come into every organization in the major leagues. To get it concise, nobody gets stretched out anymore. Are they conditioned to go, all right, you're going to go give me 5-6 good innings, and then I'm going to have somebody pick you up and take. Does that lend into some problems also as Roland again fouls it off?
I think you're exactly right. I don't think you can have it both ways. I don't think you can have a 5-man rotation and a 100 pitch count. Because what happens today is pitchers really don't know. They relate being tired with not being able to get somebody out.
Okay.
In other words, I'm losing a little bit.
Yeah.
That usually is the sign today to come out of the game. I'm losing it. Well, I'm not saying in the old days, it's not that far back, really, that what you wanted to do was to throw the ball with the intention to be hit, keep the pitch count down. But today, I think what happens, you only have 6 innings to pitch. Fastball up and in from Guzman, pretty good spot. But what happens is, I've probably got 6 innings in me and maybe 100 pitches, and that's all I have. So I'm going to throw the kitchen sink at him. I was guilty of it. I went to the Toronto Blue Jays, traded in '87. And I remember having a one-hitter in Detroit, and was on a bunt single to the leadoff batter of the game. And after the 6th inning, Jimmy Williams came out to the mound and says, "You're done." And I wondered, what do you mean I'm done? I've only got 60 pitches through 6. He says, "We've got Ward and Henke in the bullpen." Well, you can't have the same scenario today. The Orioles do not have Ward and Henke in the bullpen right now.
Right.
So my belief is either you go back to a 4-man rotation, or in the 5-man you raise the pitch count.
Ground ball over the mound. Bordick will charge and throw out Rico Brogna. Mike knew he had time to get a good grip on the baseball as he charged and had his momentum carrying toward first base anyway, and steadied to throw out Brogna with Abreu moving over to third.
One thing Bordick does so well is just throw on the run. A lot of infielders have to load up and get on that back leg to throw a ball. Bordick can just keep those legs grinding and throw on the run very accurately.
Well, now Juan Guzman is going to go after Mike Lieberthal, the hot hitting catcher. Guzman wants to get Lieberthal here to keep the Phils off the board.
I didn't go off there, did I? I think I kind of went off for a couple of hitters.
Nah,
I'm sorry.
You want to look at my scorecard?
See what happened. I'm missing a heck of a game.
No, I mean that's enjoyable stuff, getting your perspective on that, because we talk about it, and yet you have to wonder a little bit as quickly Guzman evens a count at 1-1. I mean, I don't know. You could, I guess, make a case for that. Kids that come in today are babied a little bit. Pitchers are babied in terms of not having to be stretched out and not having to develop that kind of hardened mentality about going late into a game.
Well, you're right. I think it's a mindset. Again, if you say, well, as soon as I start to feel tired or turn around and see that radar gun drop a couple of miles an hour, I don't have it. It's almost the state of mind about it. But once you stay out there, I know I talked with Mussina about it back in '95. We're talking about cruising in games that you're ahead. Because he was very conscious of pitch counts. And what you do is, just take a little bit off, change speeds, add and subtract a little bit, throw strikes, get some easy outs. You got this game under control. And if you look up Mussina's numbers that year, his strikeouts went way down. But he finished more games. He won 19 games that year.
Sure.
So the first thing you do when you go to a 4-man rotation is forget about strikeouts. You say, Sidney Ponzon said it to me the other day. I thought it was the best answer he could have given me. I said, Sidney, what are you thinking about when you're out there 0-2? He says, get an out. Not strikeouts. Sure. I don't need to throw 5 or 6 pitches, because he's already has that mentality that I like to finish some of these games. He likes getting that last out. And what you do is you start saying, there's no doubt in my mind, Jim Palmer, I don't think he ever struck out 200 in a season, but he probably could have struck out 300 if he wanted to go for strikeouts. A la Nolan Ryan. Ryan cared more about that. Jim liked to win, and he did it a lot.
Oh, yeah. 269 times, as a matter of fact.
Well, I'm not counting the 15 in fantasy camp.
2-2 to Lieberthal. Walter Bell would not go up with that right hand, so Guzman is with another 3-2 situation. The passions of my partner, Mike Flanagan, coming out. I like it. I like it. Good stuff. Yeah. Straight from the heart. Payoff pitch. Lieberthal fouls it off. 4-man rotation. I like that.
Well, I mean, to me, if there is watered down pitching, then why would you make it thinner? If you've got 4 or 5 good ones, go for it. Ray saw a lot of 4-man rotations.
Oh, boy, did he. Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Another 3-2 from Guzman. Where was it? Missed away. Well, Juan Guzman continues to give up the walks here tonight. 7 of them.
Well, Ray may be going with it. I don't see anyone up in the Oriole bullpen and throwing, and pitch count we know is over 100. Again, still Juan trying to make the perfect pitch. 3-2 slider.
That's going to get a visit from Bruce Keeson. Runners on the corners, 2 down here in this Philadelphia 5th inning. The Phils on top 2-1. 7 walks tonight for Juan Guzman. Already over 100 pitches.
And usually it just shows you you either have 2 plans of attack. You either attack the strike zone like Schilling is doing tonight, or you be careful in the strike zone, which Guzman is doing tonight. And you look at the scoreboard and it looks pretty even. 2 runs, 4 hits, 1 run, 3 hits. But pitch count mounting for Guzman, and certainly Schilling's well under control. Really, Nolan Ryan pitched much like Juan Guzman. He would throw 3-2 curveballs, 3-2 changeups. Really never gave in to a hitter. Where Jim was a more compromising pitcher. He would say, if you can hit my fastball low and away to right field, stay close, stay back, you'll have a base hit. And if you can do that 2 more times, you'll get a run. And that was the whole philosophy. It was really the Oriole philosophy on pitching.
Sure. Well, Rod Hendricks knows all about that, as he's been a large part of the Oriole philosophy of pitching and how to do it successfully for 38 years. Juan Guzman would like to take some of that knowledge and go get Marlon Anderson right here. Runners on the corners with 2 down in the 5th. Ground ball hit sharply. Conine will keep it in front of him and get to the bag ahead of Anderson, inning over. Now we're heading to inning number 6. It only took Guzman 1 pitch to dispose of Anderson. 2-1 Phillies. Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia. Yeah, got a little help going on with it's not our guy Sugar Ray, is it? Of musical fame. There's Jerry Hairston to lead it off. Hairston in inning number 6 for his 3rd turn to the plate against Curt Schilling. Jerry's looking for his first base hit. Orioles have been held to 3 hits by Curt Schilling. Bunched up a couple of them in inning number 4 that produced a run. The 1-1 to Jerry Hairston is fouled right side.
Well, I guess the scoreboard looks okay. Orioles still in it, staying right with Curt Schilling. Certainly was part of the plan for the game to stay with him. We don't know how much longer his pitch count will allow him to stay with Schilling.
Two on Jerry Hairston. Again, if you're just joining us tonight, Brady Anderson not able to go this evening. So that's why Jerry Hairston has been penned into that leadoff spot by manager Ray Miller. Line drive. Look at second baseman Marlon Anderson with a lunge to his left to pick it off. That started to right field off a bat of Hairston. Jerry thought he had a leadoff base hit, but that quick 2 steps from Marlon Anderson to make the play.
And that's what you have to get used to at the major league level, is that there's major league fielders too. They cover a lot more ground. They're bigger and stronger, have more range. So balls that were base hits in AAA were gobbled up in the major league, something that hitters have to get used to. Much as a pitcher coming up from AAA has to get used to the smaller major league strike zone.
Mike Bordick had a base hit to center. He scored the Orioles' lone run tonight. Now, Mike, we talked about it at the open of the show. Curt Schilling has won 4 decisions in a row. He's looking for his 13th win of the year. He's been on a roll for the Phils. Bordick with a drive into the corner and left. 1 hop up against the 330 mark. Extra bases for the O's shortstop. Second base knock of the night for Mike Bordick. 17th 2-base hit of the year for Bordick.
He's hammered a couple of pitches. Schilling leaves his slider in the middle of the plate, maybe even to the inside part. Bordick just drops the head to it. And the Philly defense just plays it as a sure double. And that brings the right man to the plate again.
BJ roped Curt Schilling to the gap in right center field. A two-base hit his last time. There's a Schilling fastball, the outside corner.
And last time he burned Schilling on a forkball that he lined over the second baseman's head. Again, pitching is an adjustment. See if he doesn't go with all hard stuff away.
Schilling's gotten ahead of BJ though too. Cal Ripken holds the Orioles one season club record for base hits in a year at 211, and BJ is on a pace to shatter that by, if he keeps up his current run where he's at right now, by in the neighborhood of 20 to 25 hits. On a pace for over 230 in a full season.
And all fastballs from Schilling, but going back to Rip's year, that was 1983, the last year the Orioles won the World Series. Rip had 211 hits that year, scored 121 runs. Of course, he was the MVP that dream season and had one almost identical in 91, which you alluded to. And BJ looking to have one of those.
Well, the Orioles certainly shined brightly last year in Coors Field in Colorado, the All-Star game. Cal had a extra base hit that just missed going out. Robbie Alomar turned into the MVP. And Ripken, Surhoff, and Messina looking for more of the same at Fenway. Just missed this Philly crowd. All the umpires are paid to get in tonight. They wanted that one.
Well, nothing but fastballs from Schilling away, just as we predicted. Trying to make that perfect pitch. Seems just about guide it to the outside corner.
Schilling's 2-2. And BJ got a piece of it. He's staying with that number one, Mike, the fastball.
Well, he burned him again on that forkball. Didn't break a lot, but the speed allowed BJ to get that bat head out to it. So that tells you as a pitcher that he's able to wait, even though I'm throwing 95 miles an hour.
This is popped up on the left side. Rowland may have room. Let's see. Yep, he pulled it out of the second row. Well, they gave him some room over there. The Phillies fans down by the barrier beyond the O's dugout, and Rowland pulled it out of about the second row.
Well, plus Rowland about 6'5". Certainly can outreach the fans. That's how much higher his glove is. BJ's wishing that ball get out of here.
Well, Schilling wins the third go-round between himself and BJ Surhoff, and that's going to leave it up to Albert Bell. Albert drove in the Orioles' only run tonight on a fielder's choice ground ball back in the fourth that scored Mike Bordick.
Well, Albert jumped on the first pitch that he saw last time up, a slider from Curt Schilling.
See the perspiration of Curt Schilling on this hot, humid night here in South Philly.
And Schilling called in his middle infielders before that last pitch and said, assume your defensive positions. Don't worry about the runner at second. I'm worried about the hitter at the plate. So you see the shortstop in the hole and the second baseman way off.
Bell awaits Schilling's 1-0 pitch. 1-1 as Schilling hits the outside corner. There's a lot of very important interleague baseball going on tonight. Right up I-95 in New York City. Yankees and Mets going at it in Shea. And Boston was down early. They've come back to take a lead over Atlanta in Turner Field. Cincinnati and Cleveland, two teams atop the Central divisions in their respective leagues, playing tonight in Cleveland. Some big games in Boston. They're down 3-0, Mike, behind Brett Saberhagen. They've come back to take the lead. Clemens and Al Leiter 2-2 in the bottom of the sixth at Shea. And you see there, as we move over here, you'll see the Cincinnati Reds lead over Cleveland 3-1 at Jacobs Field. And Well, the Reds have really been playing good baseball for Jack McKeon, their manager. Well, Curt Schilling, Mike, we've got to go back 3 starts to find the last time that he's issued a base on balls.
I can see why with the delivery he's incorporated. Very smooth, all about location and not power.
3-1 to Bell. That'll miss. So for the first time now in over 21 innings, Curt Schilling issues the walk. Is that
sometimes
a pitch around, Mike?
Well, sometimes you just got to put that graphic up if you're looking for a walk. We held on to it a little bit too long.
Well, you know that Terry Francona and his pitching coach, Galen Cisco, and Curt Schilling are well aware that Jeff Conine's been swinging a hot bat.
Well, and also Schilling has faced Conine a lot more than he's faced Albert Bell, so you're probably right. It's semi-intentional pitch around.
First pitch swinging. Conine with a ground ball at Arias. So go to Marlon Anderson and get the force on Albert Bell. Orioles have turned away in the 6th. Go to the bottom of the 6th of the vet. 2-1. Curt Schilling to the Phils. Hey, O's fans, after we get through with the All-Star break, Interleague Baseball is coming back to the yard. The Montreal Expos come in July the 15th to the 17th. 3-game series. Good seats still remain for all 3 games. Get your tickets at the Orioles box office or by calling 1-888-848-BIRD. All right, Bill Bell, is that the Walt Whitman or the Ben Franklin?
George Washington.
Ben Franklin.
Tappan Zee.
Yeah, right.
What is it?
Yeah. Triborough.
There you go.
No, the Ben Franklin Bridge here in Philadelphia, as Juan Guzman has settled down, and even though he's walked 7, pitched well. Line drive off the bat of Alex Arias. That is handled by Mike Bordick to start inning number 6 for the Phils.
Well, Juan needs an easy inning.
Curt Schilling received one of the 7 walks that Guzman has issued here on this hot and sticky night. Round ball. Jerry Hairston will lay out. Knock it down from his knees with a pick from Jeff Conine at the back end to retire Curt Schilling. Jerry Hairston on the AstroTurf giving up his body by laying out to his left to take a base hit away from Schilling.
He actually had a little bit more time than he thought with the pitcher hitting. Schilling bails and wails. Nice outstretched glove work by Hairston. And a nice backhand pick from Conine. Again, Conine continues to impress with his work around first base.
I got to ask you your thoughts about this. We've talked about Jerry Hairston all week long, right? Young player, obviously. No errors this year, 15 games. We know what he can do defensively. He's swinging the bat well. He's got options left. Probably needs a play every day. As Glanville looks at a called strike. When Delino DeShields is ready in the second half of the season, what's going to give?
Tough call. You got me on that one. I haven't had a chance to talk to Ray Miller certainly about that scenario. I said you had some tough decisions ahead. Probably depends on how the team is tracking.
Delino hasn't played now since way back in that series in Chicago when he legging out an infield base hit. Came up with a very severe pull of the hamstring.
I had the back problem, I think, in Seattle, and he had the fractured hand going all the way back to spring training. It's been that sort of year for Delino DeShields. Every time he seems to get rolling, sort of a freak injury will occur.
Here's the 0-2 to Glanville. Checked his swing. But it is a tough call, and Jerry Hairston has shown. Will he hit consistently? Here's another tough call. When Lenny Webster is back with the ball club, he hadn't been activated. And he's in limbo right now. And the Orioles are trying to make a decision on which way they want to go. Now, you know there's ball clubs, Mike, that are interested. Catcher Jason Kendall's gone down in Pittsburgh, are interested in Lenny Webster. Is any scenario going to play out? We've got to wait and see.
You have to wait and see what, you know, obviously the Orioles would like to make the best possible deal they can if they are going to make one. And certainly Lenny Webster, coming off of a terrific year last year, has a lot of value.
Guzman's 1-2. Landville with a fly ball left field in the corner and deep, but Surhoff's got room by the 3:30 mark to put it away. Inning over. Let's go to the 7th. BJ with a souvenir for the fans at the Vet. Phil's lead it. Let's take a look at our care first. Blue Cross Blue Shield League leaders, the strikeout side in the major leagues. Randy Johnson, Pedro Martinez, and then Curt Schilling, number 3. So Schilling, number 2 in the National League and number 3 overall. Although it hasn't been the strikeout pitch for Schilling this evening.
No, he's been really in cruise control. But 200 strikeouts at the All-Star break, that's pretty good, isn't it? I think it is. Looking for his 13th win.
There's Cal Ripken to lead it off. And Mike, we were talking about this July 9th back in 1991 for Cal, All-Star MVP. And well, that 3-run home run up at Skydome off his former teammate, El Presidente, Dennis Martinez, to give the American Leaguers the win. You remember the home run hitting contest the day before? Ripken was on fire.
I can't remember how many he launched. It was 17 or 19, if I remember correctly. But it was one after another.
Yeah, Cal led the American League to the big home run hitting contest win over the National League in the All-Star game.
One of those years he was locked in, much like I guess '83.
Schilling will miss away. 2-1 now on Ripken. Orioles looking for some instant runs here in the 7th inning. Birds down by 1. Trying to avoid their 4th loss in a row. Orioles have dropped 13 of the last 15. Bounced on a big hop up the middle. Arias will reach out, pick it, not in time. Cal Ripken beat it. Infield base hit for Cal. Alex Arias had to go a long way, and then Mike, he really didn't have a chance to steady himself. He had to make an off-balance throw that Ripken beat.
Oh, the ball bouncing higher on AstroTurf than it would on grass. You have to take a little deeper route. You see how high that ball bounces. By the time he swings around, tries to make the throw, Cal able to beat it out. See right there, the long extension. And by then, not able to get enough on the throw.
Charles Johnson will push a bunt back at Schilling. He took a look at second, and now we'll go to Marlon Anderson covering. Now Johnson with a sacrifice bunt. Well, Ray Miller in the National League part, getting late, 7th inning. Let's play a little National League baseball and try to get this one tied up.
Trying to get a runner in scoring position. You know, that's one good thing about being a quality pitcher. You try to keep the score down. You try to play for the lead. And you try to play for 1 run at a time.
Charles Johnson getting the fist bumps from Eddie Murray and the Oriole bench. Here's Rich Amaral now. The decision, though, that Ray Miller has to make here in the National League part. If Amaral can't deliver Ripken, do you hit for Juan Guzman here in the top of the 7th, down by 1?
I think you have to. You can seize every opportunity that you have.
See Scott Kamenicki up and throwing in the Orioles bullpen in the left field corner, and Brady Anderson was moving around down in that Oriole dugout a moment ago.
Oh, Roscoe's also up.
1-1 on Rich Amaral. Rich has had one of the Orioles' 5 base hits tonight, a solid single to right. Let's check that. Gabe Molina throwing, the right-hander in the Orioles pen, along with Jesse Orozco. Phil's got 2 in the opening inning. Orioles are countered with 1 in the 4th. And that's where we stand right now. The Phillies holding this 1-run lead with their ace Curt Schilling on the mound. And Guzman has tried to match him here tonight. 1-2 to Amaral. Got him swinging. He brought out the split finger there and had Amaral out in front. So Schilling with the K.
Very hot night for the Schilling. He hasn't thrown many forkballs tonight. Really try to conserve energy along the way till he's been in trouble.
Juan Guzman will be lifted after 6 innings of work. He threw well tonight, but Mike, here's your difference as Mike Bordick gives him a pat on the back, and as I suggested, it will be Brady Anderson who's going to come out and hit against Schilling. So this is going to be good pal against good pal. Brady Anderson and Curt Schilling, they were inseparable early in their Oriole careers as they came over together from Boston in the Mike Boddicker deal.
Right, worked their way up through the minor leagues in the Red Sox system. And again, this is the first time that Schilling has faced the Orioles. They'll even bring out a little visit from the manager. What do you want to do here? What do you want to do here? How do you feel about pitching to Brady? How do you feel about pitching to the kid on deck? Who would you rather face? It looks like it's yes, no, yes. Yes, I feel okay to pitch to Brady. I'll see how it goes. If I fall behind, I won't give in.
On the scenario, Mike Flanagan setting up first bases open. You got Jerry Hairston, the leadoff man, on deck.
What you don't like about it is obviously putting the go-ahead run on base with a free pass. But this is what managers get paid for.
That's right. Both Terry Francona, Ray Miller knew that. Obviously, he sacrificed bunts over. All right, I got Brady Anderson ready, but if Amaral is retired, they might pass Brady Anderson to pitch to Hairston
and give me a chance to maybe take the lead.
Yep.
Again, it's a chance to expend one of those bullets, and that's that chain reaction, obviously working the way Ray Miller wanted. This is the chance that he wanted.
Brady in a pinch hitting role against Curt Schilling, who powers a fastball to get ahead.
Maybe his best fastball of the night, 96 miles an hour on the radar gun. So again, he sort of cruises along till he gets in trouble. And this ought to be certainly Schilling's best stuff of the night, certainly velocity-wise. You'll probably see the whole assortment, fastballs and forkballs here.
Fourth time Brady Anderson has appeared as a pinch hitter this year. He had an RBI base hit up at Skydome last week. If you recall, that gave the Orioles a lead in the 10th inning as a pinch hitter, and ultimately to have a bullpen failure that lost it in the bottom of the inning. Now Brady with a tight, sore hamstring, so on AstroTurf tonight. Ray Miller opting to give Brady another evening off until here in the 7th. Schilling has fallen behind 2-1.
Well, even though Schilling has turned up the velocity, he has not sacrificed location, just trying to nip that outside corner. Again, he will go after Anderson, but with quality type pitches.
To the split finger, and now he's fallen behind 3-1. Mike, we talked about this with Albert Bell earlier. It looks like, being so careful, this is a semi pitcher run.
It is a pitcher run, no doubt about it. He's going to try to nip a corner. It's the first time he's thrown something other than a fastball behind in the count all night long.
Line drive that Alex Arias is going to flag down. Anderson hit it sharply, but right at the Phillies shortstop to end the inning. Brady has hit a lot of ropes of late, but right at fielders. 2-1 Phillies. Take a look at our Southwest Airlines game summary before we head to the bottom of the 7th. Bobby Abreu has given Philadelphia their margin of lead right in the very opening inning. His 2-run double off Juan Guzman gave the Phils 2-0 lead. Albert Bell with an RBI bounce out. 2-1 in the 4th. You see the pitching lines for both the Juan Guzman, who now will leave after being pinch hit for. Gave up 7 walks, fanned 4, and a couple of runs. And of course, Curt Schilling has worked 7, 3 Ks is all tonight, but has the lead. And we look at Gabe Molina. Molina, the young man out of Denver, who, well, for one night anyway, Ray Miller said is going to be my closer. And he gave up a 2-run home run to Willie Green, the former Oriole, on Wednesday night. And Mike, unfortunately, it resulted in the Orioles' 20th blown save of the year. That leads the major leagues.
Well, therein lies the problem, and certainly in this situation, Molina on to hold its status quo. Give the Oriole offense a chance to keep trying to peck away at Curt Schilling. Molina must go through the tough part of this Phillies lineup. If there is an easy part, I don't know where it is, but Gant, Abreu, and Rowland.
Ron again has walked and scored a run this evening, flied out a couple of times. Mike, we've been impressed in his first stint of the year, though, with Gabe Molina's stuff. He's a very stocky kid, only about 5'10 and a half, 5'11.
He's what you call a short armor. He's a very tight slider. You're talking about the radar gun. I mean, you want to talk about pure velocity. Molina, the first couple of fastballs, 93. I mean, only Schilling, a couple of miles difference.
You see Eddie Murray motioning to the Orioles outfield. And Molina walks the leadoff hitter Ron again. 8th walk issued by Oriole pitching tonight. To this point, it's only cost him 2 runs.
It really is amazing. Usually, it seems like, I don't know, 60–70% of the walks score. The Orioles have somehow managed to stay right in this one.
Now here's Bobby Abreu, and now Gabe Molina is going to have to go through the real thick part of this Philadelphia hitting lineup.
And look for Abreu. Try to hook something by that hole created with Conine holding Gant on at first. I've seen him all night long being very patient at the plate, almost trying to hit the ball where it's pitched, drive it towards left center, adjust to a breaking ball. The sort of situation that the left-handers try to go out and hook something.
A double in 1 official turn and 2 runs driven in tonight. He's also walked twice as Abreu. Molina's fallen behind 2-0.
I asked Molina about what was his secret to his success in AAA, where he just had outstanding numbers, and he said it was throwing strike 1. I knew the importance of that. He has to get back on that track here.
2-0 to Abreu. 3-0.
Again, the enemy right now is the catcher's mitt, not Abreu.
Young Gabe Molina study himself in inning number 7. Three and 1 on Bobby Abreu. Scott Rowland awaits on deck for the Phils. He's a powerful right-handed hitting third baseman. Orioles are running into Philadelphia as a very hot baseball team right now. Back-to-back walks to Gant and Abreu here in inning number 7. The strike zone has deserted Gabe Molina as he comes out of Ray Miller's bullpen.
Well, you see, Ray, all I can do is sit back and look. Not quite the plan he had planned for this inning. And certainly of late, he's tried to use Orozco just for 1 hitter. So it looks like he'll let him go through Rowland. Rico Bronya, the left-hander, on deck.
This is going to get a visit from Bruce Keeson, who's on his way out to chat with young Gabe Molina.
And we've seen Bruce make some meaningful visits tonight. Seems like every time he's made a visit, the next pitch has been an out. It happened a couple of times with Guzman. You wouldn't think you'd have to go out and remind the pitcher to throw it over, but that's what Keeson is going to do. But this is a tough situation with that Rowland at the plate. You say throw it over, but throw it over in a good spot. Certainly by falling behind, you're giving them much too much credit, much too much advantage.
The Orioles bullpen, it's come under obviously very heavy scrutiny in losing 13 to 15. The orange and black has turned blue. Last 17 appearances, that's the numbers for the Orioles bullpen. 7 losses, pitching to 7+ ERA, 6 blown saves, and allowed 11 home runs, and many of them home runs late. And Mike, maybe it all starts, those numbers, with falling behind in counts.
No doubt about it.
Here's Scott Rowland now with 2 aboard and nobody out, as Gabe Molina tries to extract himself from trouble. So many 1-run losses for the Orioles in losing 13 of the last 15, and down by 1 again tonight.
Something that the Phils have excelled in. I think they're 14-9 in 1-run games. Really, you gain no information when you're pitching behind. You're just trying to fight the strike zone to get back even. Really, all you can do is throw. You really aren't pitching.
So get out of play. Came with a slider to Scott Rowland after falling behind 1-0. Gabe Molina has only been in the strike zone 3 times of the 12 pitches he's delivered. 1-1 to Rowland. Up and in. Scott Kamenicki has joined Jesse Orosco in the Orioles pen. Three and 1 on Rowland. Gant and Abreu have already received inning opening walks here in the 7th. There's Kamenicki and Orosco.
Oh, now Rod getting him ready. This is a huge pitch in the scheme of things. Rowland will be trying to leave earth if it's a fastball. Molina not wanting to walk his 3rd straight.
3-1 pitch. Runners moving up and away. Ball 4, and young Gabe Molina has walked the bases loaded here in inning number 7. The 10th walk issued by Orioles pitching tonight. 7 from Guzman and now 3 here from Gabe Molina, and that's the reaction of the manager. And he's going to come out and get his young right-hander. Well, Mike, it hurts when the Phillies haven't had to swing the bat, and they've got the bases loaded here with nobody out. We'll be right back. Our Bell Atlantic call to the pen at the bottom of the 7th. Baseball's all-time leader in relief appearances on the hill here in this bases loaded, no out situation in the bottom of the 7th. Jesse Orosco, and well, Mike, it's been walks and left-handed hitters that have problemed Jesse this year.
Well, walks and poor counts to lefties. I think in the past you could almost pencil in the lefties as outs with Orosco on the mound. But the key for any left-handed pitcher against a left-handed hitter is strike one, the same formula that you use against right-handers, but I think even more imperative against good lefties is to get ahead, get them to expand.
Ray Miller matching up Jesse Orosco with this tough left-handed hitter, Rico Brogna. Brogna, .258 this year against lefties. He's hitting with the bases loaded and nobody out. Just 1 run Philly lead. Orosco missing with a slider. Mike, last year Jesse allowed just 2 home runs all year long against left-handed hitters. This year 3 home runs to left-handers, 2 of them to Darren Fletcher of Toronto and Paul O'Neill of the Yankees.
Very uncharacteristic, and again it's about the count.
The 1-0. It's on the outside corner with a slider. Orioles have their infield in. And on AstroTurf, you're going to move up here, down by 1 in the 7th. You see Bordick and Hairston up about 4 or 5 steps in the middle of the diamond, and Conine and Ripken even with the bags at 1st and 3rd respectively. Sweet slider from Orosco to get ahead of Rico Brogna. Phillies have received 10 walks tonight, 3 in this 7th inning. That's the new season high for the Phils.
Pretty good breaking ball from Orosco right to the outside portion of the plate. Amazing. I guess what, only 1 of the 10 walks have scored.
Did he go too far? Yep, he did. Ring him up, swinging. Mark Hirschbeck setting down Rico Brogna by going up with the right hand as he chased the Orosco slider. Ray Miller got the strikeout of Rico Brogna. He's going to go to the pen and get Scott Kamenicki for Mike Lieberthal. We'll tell you about Kamenicki when we come back as Orosco does his job. 2-1 Philly. For the bottom of the 7th, taking over for Jesse Orosco. Scotty has done a very solid job in relief. Picked up 2 saves in the last couple of weeks. And Mike now is pretty much being counted on to get a job done late innings.
And he actually seems to like the role.
Oh, yeah.
I was talking about maybe he found a little bit of a home in the bullpen. Pitched some meaningful innings out of the bullpen of late.
And nice conversation with him on Orioles All Access about that this week. And he just relishes getting the baseball, plain and simple. Scotty's the type, give it to me, and I'm going to go out there and battle you and try to give you what I have.
And actually, he's been much more aggressive with the strike zone out of the pen than he was as a starter. Sometimes your thinking changes. I'm in the bullpen now. I need to throw more strikes. I'm only going to see hitters maybe one time around. So I don't feel like I have to show the hitters all my pitches.
He's facing Mike Lieberthal, bases loaded with Phillies. Gant, Abreu, and Rowland. At all the stations here in this one-run game. Nice spot for Kamenicki on that outside corner.
Pretty good location from Kamenicki. Check out the glove and target of Charles Johnson. Probably get a little break.
The 1-1 to Lieberthal. So get out of play in the seats up the line and right. Kamenicki quickly ahead.
And I see Kamenicki take a little stroll. This is when you make up your mind how you want to finish off Lieberthal. You start thinking, can I run a sinker down and in, maybe get a ground ball to short, get greedy and go for 2? Or do I go for a strikeout on the breaking ball? So he's taking a little bit longer time getting his thoughts together.
Lieberthal is 2 for 3 against Scott Kamenicki in their matchup. The 1-2 pitch. This is line to right. Albert Bell is there. He's got it. Gant will tag. Here he comes. Bell's throw is high, and Gant will beat it with a head-first slide. Sacrifice fly and the RBI for Mike Lieberthal. 3-1 Phillies. The all-star Lieberthal getting the job done on a 1-2 pitch.
He gets a breaking ball slider a little bit up. Lieberthal just goes with it. Defensive put it in play type of swing. Albert Bell gives it his best shot. A little bit up the line and a little bit high. Appears that even if it was on line, it would have been a little late. So the walks finally come back to haunt the Orioles and Molina.
Ronnie Gant beating the throw of Albert Bell. That run charged to young Gabe Molina. Kamenicki now with 2 aboard. And the Orioles are going to appeal at third base. And Mark Hirschbeck says no, Ronnie Gant did it correctly and tagged properly.
Said, yeah, he left on time. Nice try.
Kamenicki will go back about the business of trying to get Marlon Anderson. He was 0 for 3 tonight. Abreu in scoring position with Rowland aboard. Kamenicki misses with the breaking ball. And we talked about Marlon Anderson and how strong he has been. 2nd in the major leagues with runners in scoring position, hitting at almost a .450 clip. Called strike from Kamenicki.
Just terrific placement of that last fastball.
The 1-1 pitch. 2-1. Marlon Anderson, we mentioned, had the very big year in 1998. Led the National League with 14 triples. Hit over 300. And then in 17 games in September, dittoed that over 300 here with the Phils. Breaking ball from Kamenicki has been a pitch he's been able to spot in the strike zone.
Well, he needs to do it just one more time.
Any base runners. Abreu and Rowland. 2-2 pitch. Ground ball wide of first, base hit right field. Abreu is rounded third. Bell's throw to third is high, not in time. Ripken's throw to second, safe there. Philadelphia. RBI base hit for Marlon Anderson. So Mike, he continues to sizzle with runners in scoring position.
Just a terrific piece of hitting and location. Check out this last pitch. They try to come back in where they started early. Just pulls the hands in, just out of the reach of Conine, just out of the reach of Hairston. Let's see, John Vukovic, third base coach, saying to get down. Too late at third, too late at second. So they end up with second and third, and they'll go ahead and issue the intentional walk.
And speaking of walks, the 2 walks that Gabe Molina issued to start the inning to Ron Gant and Bobby Abreu are now both in the dugout with Philadelphia runs to build this lead to 3 at 4-1. The bases will be loaded up again as Kamenicki issues the intentional pass to Alex Arias. And of course, now the 3-run lead. Terry Francona is going to send his pitcher Curt Schilling to the plate.
Well, the hardest thing for Schilling to do tonight is to stay loose. He's had a lot of innings to sit and wait. It's really taken a long time for the Phillies to score 4 runs with all those walks.
Yeah, 10 of them they have received a season high from Oriole pitching tonight. 7 from Guzman, 3 from Molina. Now you throw in the intentional pass to Alex Arias. There's Curt Schilling. We talked about could swing the bat a little bit. He's 0 for 2 tonight, and he drew a walk from Juan Guzman. Ground ball on a big hop. Bordick will charge. And on the run, throw out Schilling. Inning over. Damage done, though. The Phillies get 2 in inning number 7. They up the lead now to 4-1.
WB50's coverage of Orioles baseball is brought to you by Pepsi, the joy of cola.
Those hot-hitting Texas Rangers, Rafael Palmeiro, Juan Gonzalez, Ivan Rodriguez, they're coming to the yard again. O's fans, 3-game series, July 27th, 28th, and 29th. Tickets still remain for all 3 games. Get your tickets at the Orioles box office or by calling 1-888-848-BIRD. Now let's take a look at the popular recording artist Sugar Hill Gang, performing, entertaining with the Philly Fanatic here at the Vet in South Philadelphia on this steamy night in July. And as we head to inning number 8, we take a look at a defensive move being made by manager Terry Francona. That's David Doster. He's taking over at second base. We saw Doster perform in the series at Oriole Park back in June. Curt Schilling has a little bit of breathing room. He's going out to the mound now to face Jerry Hairston with a 3-run lead as Schilling looks for his 5th win in a row and looks to become a 13-game winner. Jerry Hairston 0 for 3 tonight in the leadoff spot against Curt Schilling. Hit the ball hard his last time, and Schilling has just pumped 2 fastballs on that outside corner to quickly get ahead.
He really has been a model of consistency this season. This is his 19th start, and in all 19 he has pitched 6 or more innings. Again, doing it almost exclusively with a fastball that he moves in and out. Pretty much starts off away, and then he'll throw one in, as he did there. Probably go back away.
1-2 to Hairston. Line drive right field. Abreu is going to play it on one hop. Jerry Hairston with a line drive base hit to start out inning number 8. As Hairston continues to swing the bat well.
Really, Schilling pitched Hairston about as well as you can. 2 fastballs away, well located, comes in to keep him honest, goes back away and watch the plate coverage. It's a perfect pitch. Would have been strike 3. Again, we talked about it. This is the style of pitching that is sort of old school. You give up the base hit to right. You've got a 3-run lead. You make the opposition get 3 base hits to get a run.
Mike Bordick has had a solid night against Curt Schilling. 2 for 3, single, double, scored a run this evening. The O's are going to have to do it in comeback fashion against one of the best in baseball. See how much Curt Schilling has left in the tank. And how Terry Francona makes his decisions here in the 8th or 9th inning. Some stirring, but nobody up throwing yet in the Phil's pen. It's got to be a comfortable feeling, Mike. I mean, this is truly, to borrow the old baseball phrase, one of the real horses that eats up innings, as you were just talking about. Take you deep in a game. You can almost mark it down, count on it. Not every time he goes to the mound.
He's going to run you deep in the ball game as consistently as anyone in baseball.
Popped up off the bat of Mike Bordick, left side. Alex Arias put the squeeze on it. Bordick retired for the first out here in the 8th. Over 28,000 on this sultry Friday night here at the Vet. And the Phillies have noticed of late that crowds are starting to pick up a little bit as this ball club kicks it into gear and starts to make their move in the National League East.
Starting to recognize the names. There's talk about a new ballpark here in Philadelphia.
Oh yeah. Surhoff with a drive to left, sending Gant back toward the track with room. EJ hit it well the opposite way, but Ronnie Gant playing him deep, and room near the track for out number 2.
We saw Schilling make a mistake to Surhoff early in the game, a high forkball, and since then has stayed away. Again, the pattern continues. Stay away, make the hitters beat you to the outfield.
There are the numbers for Curt Schilling. Deep into the game in this 8th inning. He has been a little bit more economical tonight, coming off a 13 strikeout performance of the Cubs with just 3 Ks here tonight, but nevertheless only allowed 6 base hits. Albert Bell, fly ball center field. Plenty of room for Doug Glanville, inning over. Now Schilling on 2 pitches got Surhoff and Bell in the heart of the Orioles lineup to end the 8th. 4-1 Phils. Hey, O's fans, since 1914, one workers' compensation insurer has been going to bat for Maryland employers and their employees. The Injured Workers Insurance Fund, IWIF. Today, IWIF is $1 billion strong. To learn more, contact your insurance agent or call IWIF. They're Maryland's first choice in workers' compensation insurance. Cal Ripken will handle the bouncing ball off of the bat of Doug Glanville. 1 pitch and 1 out here in the Phillies half of inning number 8. Scott Kamenicki, the 4th Oriole pitcher used tonight. The start went to Juan Guzman. Guzman held Philadelphia to 2 runs in kind of in a Houdini-like fashion, Mike, because he walked 7. But he was able to pitch out of trouble through almost 7 innings of work. Ronnie Gant now. Gant has scored twice tonight, and he doesn't have a base hit to do it. He's walked 2 times, and let's count them up, Mike. 3 of the 4 Philly runs, 2 from Gant and 1 from Bobby Abreu. They have scored following walks received here tonight.
It really is sort of amazing they haven't scored more than they have. Twice in the game, the Orioles walked the bases loaded.
Gant with a drive deep in the corner and right. It is slicing foul.
And the Orioles are out hitting the Phillies 6-5. But you factor in the 11 walks, I guess, counting the intentional. And that's a slow death if you're a manager and a pitching coach. Chinese water torture. It's like with every ball is another drip.
Yeah, not pleasant.
And Reyes said it. He said, I'd much rather have my relievers get hit. Then it would be an easy read if they don't have it. But when they're nibbling and falling behind, I can't get a read. Does he have good stuff or doesn't he?
Nibbling, the operative word. Again, we go back, trust your stuff.
But the whole thing is, if you want to throw it over 2-0, throw it over 0-0 when you're not sure. And you know the hitters aren't sure what's coming, but 2-0, they certainly have an idea what's coming.
This Philly ball club, they're 3 outs away from going a season best 8 games over 500. Haven't been that many over since back in the '95 season. Yet fouled off the breaking pitch. National leaguer throughout his very solid major league career. Atlanta, St. Louis, and now here in Philadelphia for Ronnie Gant. 3-2 pitch. Ground ball that Ripken will play on the big hop. Cal Ripken has handled a couple of ground ball outs here in inning number 8. Those fans, the official Orioles MasterCard is one baseball card every Birds fan should have. The no annual fee cards available now. Call that number you see on the bottom of your screen, and we advise you to get your Orioles MasterCard today. Base is empty with 2 down for Bobby Abreu. Abreu has put the ball in play once tonight in the opening inning. His 2-run double to the corner and left over the head of B.J. Surhoff. Next 3 times, walked. You go into one like this, knowing Mike Bat that giving up 4 is okay, but on most nights, giving up 4 when Curt Schilling's on the mound is going to put you in a very gray area.
And they really stayed in this one. 2 runs in the first, and really the Phillies were just hanging on. The Orioles had a couple of shots against Curt Schilling.
There he is. The ace of the staff here in Philadelphia. This is line foul. In all those ball clubs, Mike, so much conversation in cities like Cleveland, to be specific, about going out and getting an ace. Well, it's not going to be Curt Schilling, because if those fans of that club haven't looked up, this ball club's in a race. They've got postseason thoughts in mind, and Schilling's not going anywhere.
Well, Schilling was very vocal about some of the moves made by the organization early on. Some of that seems to have subsided.
Wing him up and set him down. Looking as Kamenicki pumped the fastball by Bobby Abreu. Curt Schilling's 3 outs away from a complete game win. Last chance time here at the Vet for the O's. Down by 3 to Curt Schilling and the Philadelphia Phillies. As we head to the top of the 9th, Jeff Conine, Cal Ripken, Charles Johnson. Now, Ray Miller has Harold Baines and Will Clark available. 2 left-handed sticks. The Orioles need a couple of base runners, down by 3. And Jeff Conine attacking that first pitch fastball. Conine tonight is 0 for 3. He's hit the ball on the ground all 3 times. Conine starting his 8th straight as Will Clark continues to miss starts because of a swollen knee. Schilling broke out the nasty slider there.
Saved it for the 9th.
Yeah.
And smelling the complete game.
Got Conine swinging 3 pitches to open up the 9th inning. The 4th strikeout for Curt Schilling.
The first time he's thrown back-to-back breaking balls all evening long. Back-to-back sliders from Schilling.
Cal Ripken had an infield base hit. Again, if you weren't with us earlier, Curt Schilling talking at length about how Cal Ripken, a solid Oriole, was a player he idolized, and Ripken just rode Schilling the other way into the corner and right. Abreu on it quickly. The throw to second, not in time. Ripken beat it with a slide. 2-base hit for Cal Ripken. Oh, Cal with 2 more base knocks tonight. Now continuing on his way. He is just 51 base hits away at 2,949 from the 3,000 mark.
Looking for a fastball away and getting one, just shooting in that direction. Now Will Clark will take a stab at Curt Schilling.
So Will Clark, who has pinch hit in the last couple of days for the O's. Again, Will with the swollen knee, and he has ripped a shot to left for a base hit. It'll get down in front of Ron Gant. The Orioles down by 3. Cal Ripken just going to go station to station, and now the Orioles can get the tying run to the plate here against Curt Schilling.
Will Clark wasting no time also.
Well, Mike, he came off that bench swinging the bat as we take a look at our Chevy dealer saves leaders. Philadelphia Phillies, Wayne Gomes with 12 of them. Curt Schilling, as you see, 6 complete games as second in the majors. Now he's faced with a situation with the tying run coming to the plate, and it's going to be in the person of a sweet swinger from St. Michael's, Harold Baines.
You just hope that Schilling gets a case of the memory. A couple of games back in May. A couple of tough 9th inning losses. One to the New York Mets. I think they scored 3 in the 9th.
Well, like Ray Miller obviously deciding to spend his bullet right here with 1 out. You could have hit Amaral and had Baines behind him. If Harold, whether he delivers or not, the pitcher spot is coming up next. And the Orioles have Mike Figa left and Jeff Rabelais left.
Well, here's your shot right here to tie.
Yep. Runners at the corners. Schilling to Baines. Ground ball. Bronya will pick it at the bag. Ripken to the plate. Nice play, Rico Bronya. Oh, that's a tough short hop on AstroTurf, Mike. Harold Baines tried to get something started to that right field corner, but Bronya had other ideas. The fielder's choice brings Ripken to the plate to cut the lead to 2.
Well, this had trouble written all over it. Again, we talked about it up in Toronto with the dirt, and then AstroTurf seemed very close. Tough backhanded pick by Bronya. Outstanding play. That ball ends up down in the corner. You're looking at big trouble.
Well, the situation we described, Mike, comes to fruition. The Orioles get 1. Well, this is the pitcher spot coming to the plate with Clark in scoring position, 2 out in the 9th. And what Ray Miller has to choose from, he's hit Anderson, Clark, and Baines, Jeff Rabelais, Mike Figa.
Yeah, he used his bullets, and he used them, I think, appropriately. Brady Anderson pinch hitting in the 7th. Hit a bullet at the time, would have made it a 2-2 game. And used Baines' best home run shot to probably try to tie it. And Clark delivered also.
Well, Harold picking up the RBI. His 63rd of the year. But now Jeff Rabelais. This is the 4th pinch hitter the Orioles have used tonight against Curt Schilling. This crowd making noise now here at the vet. And Schilling, well, you can expect to a guy like Rabelais, he's just going to come Powder River with the fastballs. Jeff just getting off the bench in the 9th inning.
Well, using his best fastball since probably the 7th when he had to reach back on another occasion. 96 miles an hour here in the 9th.
Oh, 1 to Rabelais. 21 now on the Oriole pinch hitter. And the Birds with a double from Ripken, the pinch hit single from Will Clark, and the fielder's choice ground ball from Harold Baines on the board here. They're down to their final out with Clark in scoring position. Jeff Rabelais at the plate. The 1-1. Curt Schilling, as this crowd senses now to get on their feet, 1 pitch away, and he will get set to deliver his 110th pitch of the night as they all get up 28,000 plus here at the vet in South Philly. Curt Schilling still throwing mid-90s here in this hot night. The 1-2. Overthrew that, didn't he, Mike?
He reached back. He wanted that to be the last one. That was 98. Best fastball of the night.
Nowhere near the zone.
Well, he may have sacrificed location for a little extra on that one.
Three and two on Jeff Rebele. Jerry Hairston would be next. Rebele pinch hitting in the number 9 spot, the pitcher's spot in the order. Schilling was ahead of Rebele 1 and 2, who's battling the Philly ace. Payoff pitch. That misses. And the Orioles have the potential tying runs aboard now. Here against Curt Schilling, who, well, Mike, he is storming around that mound. He seems a little bit upset.
Well, he's tried to throw a strike the last 3, just try to put a little bit too much on it. And that'll make manager Terry Francona pace the dugout. And he's mad at himself more than he's mad at the umpire.
And no movement at all from Terry Francona. Situation you don't often go out and take the baseball from the race. Orioles have the tying runs aboard. Will Clark, Mike, and Jeff Rebele as Jerry Hairston is at a base hit in 4 turns, looks at a called strike.
Hairston's had a couple of nice at bats against Schilling. Base hit his last time up and lined out to second in the 6th.
Is going to get out of play. So Schilling again is now potentially 1 pitch away as he's 0-2 on Hairston, looking for his 7th complete game of the year. Jerry Hairston is battling them.
Anything close. This time Schilling with the complete game on the line. Goes to the breaking ball. So they walk to Rebele pretty much about a motion, trying to finish with a fastball. Here he's a little bit more under control.
Hairston awaits the 0-2. Got him. It's over. Another route-going performance. Another gem for Curt Schilling. His 13th win of the year against just 4 losses is Schilling on his game. His 7th complete game of 1999. As we said, one of the true dominant number 1s, aces around Major League Baseball. Orioles had some chances tonight. They battled them, but only could put 2 on the board. Got 1 here in the 9th and falls short. Philly wins at 4-2 behind Curt Schilling. The O's have lost 4 in a row. We'll be right back to the bench.
Baseball is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. The fare so low, you have the freedom to go places.
They battled hard against one of the best pitchers in the game, Curt Schilling. Orioles come up short. They've lost 4 in a row and now 14 of 16 to fall 17 games under the 500 mark. The Orioles with a 4-2 loss as Curt Schilling has his 7th complete game, tied for first in the major leagues in wins for the 13th time against just 4 losses. Take a look at a Popeyes double play, and it happened way back in the first inning when Bobby Abreu hit a 2-run double, decided to test the arm of B.J. Surhoff.
Yeah, mistake on his part. See how quickly B.J. gets rid of this ball right on the money to Ripken.
10th outfield assist for B.J. Surhoff. That a Popeyes double play. Those that favor the Phillies go home happy for the vet tonight. Phils win at 4-2 behind Curt Schilling. More coming up on the Orioles Television Network. Back at Veterans Stadium following the Philadelphia Phillies' a 4-2 win over the Orioles. The Phils have won 4 in a row. The O's have dropped 4 in a row, and Philadelphia continues their climb up the ladder in the National League East. Let's take a look at our Citgo play of the game. And Scott Rowland, It's a very, very nice third base here in Philadelphia, Mike.
Yeah, you made a terrific play on this ball off the bat of Jerry Hairston. Outstanding speed and that quick release. The only way he could make that play.
Now, Curt Schilling got the good defense behind him tonight to come up with this 4-2 win over the Orioles, even though the Birds out hit the Phils 8-5. There's more coming up from the vet on the Orioles television network.